southbound from the Spaghetti Bowl to Spring Mountain. And on the 95 in the West Valley, slowing is from Cheyenne Avenue to Summerlin Parkway. Now, on the surface streets, a lot of activity with a crash hit and run. Accident investigation continues on Rainbow north of Blue Diamond. And an injury accident on Rancho southbound at Washington. Watch for police and fire staged at the scene. After an accident, the insurance company won't have your back. That's why you need personal injury attorneys Sam and Ash, because you deserve what's right. Visit them now at samandash.com or call 1-800-304-2000. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
For more than a year, the whole of Vermont was captivated by the hunt for a runaway golden retriever. Read Catching Murphy, the latest book from the Associated Press. Available now exclusively at Amazon.com.
I'm Jim Snyder.
And I'm Marie Mortera. We want to thank you for making News 3 your #1 choice for news.
You can count on us to have the big story of the day.
Plus breaking news that matters to you.
News 3 live at 11 with Jim Snyder and Marie Mortera leading the way in Las Vegas.
Tuscany Suites and Casino is a place for locals to play in December. Tuscany is helping you with your holiday shopping with their Holiday Earn and Ship with Amazon Prime event. Starting December 3rd to December 14th, you can earn points playing your favorite slot machines and shop for gifts on the Tuscany Prime website. Plus, have gifts delivered to your home within 2 business days. For more information, visit the Tuscany Players Club for details. Tuscany Suites and Casino, 2 blocks east of the Strip at 255 East Flamingo, where parking is also free.
Meet me at the Tuscany.
Hi, Mark Hale here, owner of Today's Energy Store. Winter is here, temperatures are dropping, heaters are coming on, lights are going up on the trees and homes, and that means you're using more electricity. SunPower by Today's Energy Store has fair and upfront honest pricing. We've been helping Nevada homeowners with solar solutions for over 10 years. This holiday season, we want to make it even better to get the most efficient solar in the industry. Sign up to go solar by December 31st, and you can get an extra $1,000 rebate direct from SunPower. Let us help you save money with solar this holiday season. Call 702-558-1500. That's 702-558-1500.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever, 99 cents, plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pods sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
I'm Jack Weinstein of the Tower Jewels. For over 50 years, the Tower Jewels has provided Las Vegas with outstanding customer service and top quality jewelry. So come see us at the Tower Jewels today.
Visit Tower Jewels today for store-wide savings on rubies, diamonds, sapphires, and more, all up to 70% off at Tower Jewels. This holiday season, see our master designers and have that something special made for your someone special.
Up to 36 months, 0 down, no interest financing available.
Tower of Jewels, Santa Claus's manufacturing jeweler.
101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON, the talk of Las Vegas. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
Welcome, everybody. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us. That was one of the best intros I think we've ever had on the Vegas Take before. 20 seconds of dead air. That's okay. Welcome.
More like a minute.
Welcome to the show. We appreciate everybody joining us. Unfortunately, you missed my amazing intro because my microphone wasn't on. No, it really wasn't that amazing. But welcome to the show, everybody. A lot to get to, a lot to go over. Sharp and Shapiro, glad you could join us. We got some fun guests lined up for you today. particularly a guy that I have loved from America's Got Talent, a guy who won, and he's been doing a show on the Strip for a while now. Terry Fator, he is awesome. There's a little bit of a, I'm not going to say controversy, maybe you could call it that. He had a Donald Trump puppet in his act, and now it is gone. We're going to ask him a little bit about that, what's going on there. Coming up in hour number 3, also Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports is going to be joining us. A lot to get to with him. It is our Dirty Dining segment. What are the you always hear about great restaurants, right? What are the restaurants that you should be going to? Well, how about the restaurants that you should be avoiding? Darcy Spears from ABC 13 is going to be joining us, talking a little bit about that. We're going to get to these red flag laws and this organization that wants to ban all red flag laws in the state of Nevada. It's absurd. We're going to get to that coming up in hour number 2 as well. Also, Donald Trump supporters outside in one of his rallies saying there's going to be a civil war if he's not reelected. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So we'll get to all that stuff. A loaded, jam-packed show lined up for you today. I want to start with this, though. Last night, we were able to see the movie Richard Jewell. It was like a pre-screening of the movie, so to speak. It's out in theaters on Friday. I was really looking forward to seeing this movie. And if you don't know what it is, it's a movie that is directed by Clint Eastwood. It is a true story about the, I believe it was the 96 Olympics bombing in Atlanta. And this guy, Richard Jewell, is a security guard. This is a true story, by the way, based on a true story. This guy, Richard Jewell, is a security guard. And he's just walking around the area, and all of a sudden there's this backpack there, and he sees, a police officer identifies it as a bomb. It goes off tragically. I believe one person lost her life, and over 100 people were injured. And it's a movie, a portrayal about how the media and the FBI, in a way, ruined this guy's life and ruined his family's life, claiming that he was the bomber. And it was actually quite the opposite. Not only did he have nothing to do with the bombing, this guy, Richard Jewell, but he was a hero. He saved lives. The real Richard Jewell died several years back. I believe actually he died a little longer than that. I think it was in 2007. He lost his life at the age of 44. But this was a hero. And I have no doubt that all the stress that he went through with him and his family took a toll on his life. I mean, obviously, he was not in very good shape. He was a man that was overweight. But really a sad story about what this poor guy had to go through. I thought Clint Eastwood did a fantastic job directing this movie. I thought the acting was fantastic. The actor who plays Richard Jewell, I thought was fantastic. I thought Sam Rockwell, who plays Richard Jewell's attorney, was fantastic. All in all, I thought it was a great movie. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was one of the better movies that I've seen in several years. I thought it was that good. It was really good. So certainly go out there and check it out. However, there is a controversy with this movie. And I'll tell you what it is. I don't think it's much of a controversy, but the movie is facing backlash now because the paper that this, I guess you could say this journalist, Kathy, it's portrayal of Kathy Scruggs. She's the journalist involved in the coverage of the 96 park bombing. She's the one who released information from the FBI to the press saying that this guy, Richard Jewell, was a suspect. She's the one who released the information. And there was a lot of speculation on how she got this information. And the movie portrays it as this, that she got the information from an FBI agent and she slept with him to get the information. Now, Clint Eastwood doesn't know if that's true or not. Nobody knows for sure whether that's true or not. It's a movie. It's salacious. Doesn't mean everything in the movie has to be true, but I will say this. To think that this has never happened in the media before, and I'm talking about men too, not just women, to think that this has never happened in the media before where somebody sleeps with somebody for a favor or a tip, you are mistaken, my friend. I was a reporter for 10 years. I'm not going to say who, but I know of at least one reporter, female reporter in this town that has had physical relationships with higher-ups. I'm not going to say who, I'm not going to say where, but I know that for a fact because I know that from the actual source. So this has happened before in the media, where a woman or a man, not just necessarily saying a woman, will sleep with someone for information. In this case, it was an FBI agent. Now, this is what Clint Eastwood is portraying in the movie. I don't see anything wrong with it. And if Kathy Scruggs, the journalist, wants to say, I didn't sleep with anyone, I was doing my due diligence, then fine, she has the right to do that. I don't think that the movie can be sued for that. There's also a disclaimer at the end. Not everything in this movie is true. So John Hamm plays the FBI agent in this movie. He's the one that sleeps with this reporter and gives her information. He was asked about that on the red carpet on Tuesday. He said, it's my understanding that the people that are making these accusations at the paper haven't even seen the film yet. He also said that the film pulled details from a book of the event. He says, I kind of feel like the irony in that is sort of ridiculous. Kathy is portrayed by Olivia in this film as she was, which is an incredibly nuanced individual. To reduce her to this one thing is not fair. He also says, I think that there were certainly suggestions of impropriety with her character, but not just her character, with my character as well. So I really don't have a problem with that. I don't think it's a controversy. It's probably better for the movie because it gets more of the movie's name out there, and it's a good movie. It deserves it. A spokesperson in the movie said that a disclaimer will be visible at the end of the film as is standard for fact-based stories. So I don't have anything really more to say other than this was a good movie. I thought it was well done. I enjoyed it. Had some funny moments, had some emotional moments. I thought the acting was fantastic. Clint Eastwood is an icon. Say what you want about his politics. He's an icon. He's a legendary actor, filmmaker. He's one of the few that are left as far as I'm concerned. And I thought, I'm not going to say it was a masterpiece, but certainly an above-average movie. I really enjoyed it, and I love Sam Rockwell. I can't recall a Sam Rockwell movie that I didn't enjoy. Fantastic actor, and like I said, the guy who plays Richard Jewell, I thought did a fantastic job. I mean, this was Richard Jewell. I'm looking at this guy, the way he talks, the way he looks, the way he acts. This was Richard Jewell. He was incredible performance by him, and I think he could win an award. I thought he really was that good. Anyway, I went with our friend C-Win, friend of the show, and our producer Jason Stein. And I know Jason is chomping at the bits here in studio. Wanted to give his thoughts on the film. So, Jason, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to do this without like really spoiling anything for anybody because it comes out Friday. But I think, first of all, conservatives will love this movie. And the reason that I think conservatives will love this movie is because I thought it was, even though it's a true story and it's a good story, I think it was one big political statement by Clint Eastwood, who, of course, we know is a Republican. Remember, he did that whole chair skit at the 2012 Republican convention that he got all that crap for. But anyway, he's a well-known conservative person. And listen, he could tell a billion stories. He could do any story he wants. He's a famous director, and he chose this story. It's the story of the federal government, FBI, and the media, the left-wing media, conspiring to destroy a man's life. And this man, Richard Jewell, is just an everyday, ordinary American living in the middle of nowhere, rural Georgia. There's even a scene where the FBI takes his guns away from him, which, of course, is part of the investigation. But Clint Eastwood made a point of showing that. Now, the other thing that I didn't like about it, other than the fact that I thought it was a political statement, is that the film had too much comic relief. Now, this is, I remember the 96 bombing. I remember this man's life was ruined. It was very serious. People died. He never recovered from the incident, and it's a serious story, and yet there's a lot of laughing in the movie. The scenes between him and his attorney, Sam Rockwell, are comical. Comic relief is good. A little bit of levity is good when you're telling a serious story. But this was like, at points, I thought I was watching a comedy. I mean, the audience was rolling. Okay. The audience was laughing their heads off.
I completely disagree with you.
For most of the movie.
All right, so let me...
So I did not like that.
Let me comment on a couple of the things you said. Let me start with the why right-wingers will like it. First of all, you said left-wing media. That word was never used in this movie. Politics was never used in this movie. Now, if you want to make your own and form your own opinion, I can tell you right now, the media, and you know I am not on the right, the media at times destroys people's lives. They do it all the time. And you know why they do it? They do it because it sells papers. CNN does it, and Fox News does it. That's not a left-wing conspiracy. That's a media conspiracy. Fox News does the same thing that CNN does. Right-wing newspapers do the same thing that left-wing newspapers did. And I thought Clint Eastwood did. Now, I know...
It's a true story. I agree.
I don't care about Clint Eastwood's politics. No politicians were raised here. No, the NRA, all this stuff. The bottom line is the media, not the left-wing media, the media played a role in ruining this man's life. I don't see that as a political statement. I see that as a media issue and a problem in this country on both sides. Mm-hmm. I didn't, and listen, if I thought that Clint Eastwood was going after the left, I would be the first one on the radio right now talking about that. I didn't portray that. Also, Jason, this is a movie. It's also about entertainment. There were some funny parts to the movie. And by the way, I didn't think every 2 minutes there was a big laugh. However, I'll give you an example. Members of the media were calling Richard Jewell homosexual, okay? Richard Jewell could have faced life in prison, possibly the death penalty, but it seemed like what bothered him more than anything else was that he was being portrayed as a homosexual. So there's a scene with his attorney where he says, "Please tell them I'm not gay." And that's funny. It was a funny moment. And there were several moments in the movie that were funny. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of laughter in a movie.
I just said that.
Okay, but you're making...
my opinion was it was too much.
Okay, well, I disagree with you 150%. You're entitled to your opinion, but I disagree with you. Okay, the problem I have is when people in movie theaters share their opinions during the movie and speak about it. And you were doing that.
Yeah.
And I thought it was completely ridiculous behavior. And since we're going to talk about this, we might as well be honest. I'm always honest with my personal life. There was a lady sitting in front of us, and there was a scene in the movie where the FBI, you were talking a little bit about it, takes all the things out of Richard Jewell's home, and he lives with his mom. And the mom was like, "You're taking all my Tupperware, blah, blah, blah." She's freaking out. And by the way, the real mom was freaking out and cried a lot, and I feel horrible for her. So there's a very symbolic scene at the end of the movie where Richard Jewell is found, innocent, and they're not investigating him anymore. And this is symbolic because the FBI is going back to the house and dropping off all the stuff. So you decide to say, "Oh, wow, the mom's getting her Tupperware back. Ooh." But you don't say that in your head.
Right.
You say it out loud where everyone around us can hear. So an elderly lady in front of us says, "Shut up." By the way, I think she was in the right to tell you to shut up. So you returned the favor by saying, "Why don't you shut up? You've been laughing throughout the whole movie."
That's right.
Well, I thought it was ridiculous.
I know your feelings on it.
So you think
now
that's
there's a
appropriate
separate
behavior.
issue. Okay, so now I've given my movie review, and now I'm going to give you my review of being in a movie theater, which I know a lot of people can probably relate to. Okay, first of all, the actors cannot hear you. It is not live theater.
So what?
No, hang on. Let me finish my point. I'm not one of your callers. Let me.
No, you're right.
Let me finish.
Your behavior was much worse last night than my callers. You're right.
Worse than Brady?
Yes. Your
So
behavior.
anyway,
your behavior was ridiculous.
The actors on the screen cannot hear you. This is not live theater. Okay, your applause. Okay, you want to applaud in a movie theater drives me nuts. Okay, actors can't hear you. This crowd, for some reason, I don't know who the hell this crowd was. I guess these
the
were
only
people.
time there was
These are people who got free
was,
tickets.
There was light applause. There was light applause.
There was
5
gasping
seconds.
and oohs and ahs and gasping.
So what? People are getting into the movie. They're enjoying
It's
it. What
ridiculous.
the hell is? You just don't like it when people are having more fun than you. You're miserable.
No,
sometimes.
I don't like it when people are unsophisticated and stupid.
You have the attitude that you're better than everybody else.
That's
Let
right.
me tell you, my friend, you're not better than everybody else. Everybody has a right to enjoy the movie.
Someone brought a baby in there. There was sneezing and coughing. I hate it. I'm not going to movies anymore. I'm not
Sneezing
going.
and coughing. What is wrong with you?
What's wrong with me? I shouldn't go to movies, and I
Okay, Campaign is our videographer here.
Really?
Campaign, help me out here.
Well, first of all, you guys ruined the whole movie for everybody. We all know what happens now.
We know the
Second
story.
of all, all right. You shouldn't go to the movies. Like you said, you just shouldn't. I said, he has a lot of estrogen, and right now,
Campaign, I hate to cut you off.
Yes.
And I want to let you continue, but we have a very special guest on the line right now. I didn't tell him to call in, but he's calling in because he is an eyewitness to what took place last night.
I need
right,
that.
and he has no life, and he listens to our show every morning.
I would say Chris certainly does have a life, and he's a good guy. And Chris would never behave the way you behaved in the theater last night. I am going to defend my friend. So, Chris, you open up a can of worms here. Chris decided to call in, and
good for him.
I'm going to give him a chance to respond. Chris, you were with us at the movie last night. Please tell me what you saw, and do you think Jason's behavior was inappropriate?
All right, gentlemen, again, great Thursday to you. Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to weigh on first on the whole Stein thing. I was going to weigh in on his opinion as far as the movie's concerned. Now, look, here's the deal, okay? I watched that movie, and I'm not, and just like you, Brian, I'm not someone who is a right-winger by any stretch of the imagination, right?
Right.
And I wasn't watching that movie and saying to myself, you know what? This is a political statement by Clint Eastwood. We all know what Clint Eastwood represents. We all know what, his political beliefs are. But when I was watching that film, I'm sitting back and just trying to enjoy the film. I'm not thinking about any political statement that was being made. And like you, Stein, and like you, Brian, and like you, Campaign, I'm sure, I do remember the bombing as well, too. And I remember how, he was portrayed in the media and how he was portrayed basically nationwide, right, as far as the whole bombing was concerned. So the movie was about Richard Jewell. And it was coming from perspective of he was a guy who got railroaded, who was innocent, but the FBI had a profile of him, and so the FBI stance was that this guy was absolutely somebody that could have committed that bombing. So while I don't blame the FBI for having that perspective on him, it was obviously a story about somebody that was wrongfully accused.
So okay, all right. So long story short, you agree with me.
Long story short, I don't think it was. I didn't look at that movie and say, "Oh yeah, this is a political statement of and this is all about the American government trying to take your gun."
All right, let's get to the more.
As far as like Stein and Stein, what happened as far as that? All I have to say about that is, you got to admit, Stein, it was a little strange. Like it was. I thought of it as a little bit odd the way that he was acting. Simple as that. I mean, it was strange. I thought. So
I was annoyed. I admit that, but
because you did have thoughts in your head, right, Stein? That you had opinions in your head, and instead of like even just whispering them to me or Brian, you decided to speak them out loud in the middle of a theater filled with a lot of people. So that's why I thought it was a little bit weird.
And by the way, we're missing something in the story. He then decided to scream at the top of his lungs in my car driving home. When I said he was acting like an a-hole, he decided to go on a 5-minute rant about what a horrendous human being I am.
Right.
So we're leaving that out of the story as well, but we don't have to focus on that.
It's called the pot calling the kettle black, Chris.
I've never done that in the theater before.
No, not in a theater, but you do it in other venues.
Okay, so explain to me a situation where I ruined it for others and did what you did last night in the theater, and we can gladly talk about that. And if I was wrong, I will absolutely admit it to your face right now on the air.
We're sitting there in Laughlin. There's some Minnesota Vikings fans that are watching their team play. Their team scores a touchdown, and they're excited and they're happy, and they're singing a Viking song, and you're going, "Your team sucks. Your team sucks. You're never going to make the Super Bowl. Your team sucks."
And here's the difference. Here's the difference.
That's public.
Okay, so
you're
let me
ruining
respond to
somebody's
that.
good time who's trying to watch the game and enjoy their team.
Let me
if it was
respond
your
to
team,
that.
you'd be happy too.
Okay, so let me respond to
now,
that.
Now you're going to explain to me how it's different.
Do
Go
you
ahead.
do you not want me to respond to that?
Let's hear how it's different. Because it's not a movie theater.
You brought up something. Do you not want me to respond to it, or
go
do
ahead.
you? Okay, thank you. That's right. Why don't you turn your phone off? Why don't you do that first? Jeez. First of all, when we are watching a football game and there's gambling involved and teams root for one another and other teams...
You didn't have action in that game.
Let me finish. Teams root for one another and certain people do not root for the other team. And by the way, you're wrong. I did have action on that game. When you're rooting against a team and a team is cheering and you say shut up or something like that, that is a completely different circumstance, and emotions are involved when you're watching a football game and you have a rooting interest for a team, than when you're sitting in a movie theater and it's quiet and people are enjoying a film. Don't you dare compare the two, because they're completely two complete. And by the way, not one fan, when I did that, told me to shut up. Not one fan was offended. You had a lady that was a senior citizen.
Okay.
No, don't okay me, because you know I'm right. There was a lady that is a senior citizen that is sitting in front of us that was so offended. And by the way, I was embarrassed, and she was on the
Obviously.
right. Okay, she had to turn around and tell you to shut up.
Stein. Hey guys, both of you guys, let's ask Campaign, because Campaign wasn't there. Campaign.
The issue is behavior in public. The issue is Brian is basically trying to say that he would never act like that in public.
Never in a theater. Never in a theater.
Okay, so it's the sacred movie theater. The sacred movie theater.
Both you guys. Let's ask Campaign.
But it's okay in a restaurant. It's okay in a sports book. It's okay.
Of course.
You hear how Brian talks to waiters and waitresses.
Stein, why don't you let Campaign respond?
Jason, let me ask Campaign this question.
Can you turn Chris's mic off?
No.
It was.
Don't turn his mic off.
It was out of line.
Well, you guys aren't going to let me ask him the question. I was going to ask.
Go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead, Chris.
So, Campaign, here's a question, okay? Campaign, have you ever been in a movie theater and actually, voiced your displeasure for a film out loud in front of, probably 100 people, patrons inside the movie theater?
All got in for free, by the way.
No.
Free screening.
It's a question for Campaign. Go ahead.
No. When I go to movie theaters, we get loud and stuff, but we're along with the movie. We're I like, if I'm watching something, I'm going to get into it, and then I'm commenting at the screen or whatever and all that. I
have you ever gotten a verbal confrontation with another patron?
No, I've never gotten to a verbal confrontation with it. And like, we're all on Stein's head. Like, we're on Stein's head, but maybe he was feeling something. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he has a right to express himself, but I don't think that was appropriate. Especially there's like some old lady up in there, and like you're on her head, like, bro, like that wasn't the best
no
situation.
Campaign, do you think it's fair to use the analogy of watching a football game and fans over here and I'm over here?
No, but he's trying to defend himself and he's going to grasp at straws and stuff. When you're wrong, you're the type of person that's not going to admit when you're wrong and stuff. Like you're shaking your head no right now.
Or when the server at the Bagel Cafe brought you the wrong sandwich, and you said, "Hey, you gave me the wrong sandwich." Remember, we had that conversation because because you're being a hypocrite. That's why
I'm a hypocrite.
Okay, the sacred movie theater. I'm wrong. Okay, I was rude in the movie theater. End of story. Period. I was rude. I'm admitting that.
No,
but for you to say that all the times you're rude, those are different times than the movie. That's ridiculous.
We got to take a break.
Bad behavior is bad behavior.
We got to take a break. We got to take a break. We'll be Chris. Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
You guys have a good day. The movie was good. Richard Jewell.
It was a great movie. Thanks for calling in, Chris. We appreciate it. All right, when we come back, no more Richard Jewell and Jason Stein's behavior in movie theaters. When we come back, we're going to be talking about Trump's comments in defending violence. I'll explain what that means coming up next. You are listening to The Vegas Take.
Message and data rates may apply. TNC and privacy terms can be found at babbel.com/terms. Please don't text and drive.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but you thought it'd be too hard or take too much time? Then try Babbel for free by texting EXPLORE to 64,000. In just 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. And right now, you can try Babbel for free. Babbel starts out teaching you words and phrases by matching them with pictures. You won't believe how easy the interactive program is. Soon the sentences get a little bigger, and before you know it, you're having simulated conversations voiced by native speakers. And because Babbel is crafted by language experts and uses the spaced repetition method, in just 10 to 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking the language of your choice with real confidence. With Babbel, you can speak a language. Just text EXPLORE to 64,000 and start your first lesson in the language of your choice for free. Download the Babbel app or text EXPLORE to 64,000 and try it for free. Text EXPLORE to 64,000.
Parents, you always say you want what's best for your children. If that's the case, then you should be bringing your kid to Infinity, the Math Institute, where every student earns an A or B in math. Our results are proven and they are amazing. The best tutoring service for the best price, whether online or in person, small group or one-on-one. You cannot get better results. Great grades will come when your child truly understands the math. From elementary math to calculus, we have the best tutors, the best materials, and the best results. Now offering free parent seminars on how to better help your child, what is Common Core, and more. Find out why parents are bragging and students are enjoying school again by calling 702-768-1777. That's 702-768-1777 or visit themathinstitute.com today. Tell them the Vegas Take sent you, because at Infinity, you don't get more math problems, you get solutions.
The debate over impeachment articles is underway in the Judiciary Committee. Republican Mike Johnson says Democrats are motivated solely by politics.
This is a completely unprecedented single-party impeachment charade, and everybody at home can see that clearly. These things don't change, and they won't.
Democrat Steve Cohen says the Constitution is under stress.
Trying to influence our elections with foreign interference, that takes power away from the American people. And that would end our country as we know it, a democracy, a shining city on the hill.
The U.S. reportedly is willing to cut existing tariffs on China and not impose new threatened tariffs in an effort to get China to agree to a trade deal by December 15th. President tweets China wants the deal, and so does his administration. Voters in Britain today are deciding on their leadership and whether Brexit efforts will advance. On Wall Street, the Dow is up about 80 points. I'm Mike Moss.
I'm Nick Soboleski. It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Sam and Ash. A nice recovery from this morning's rush hour. Light slowing remains on I-15 southbound from the Spaghetti Bowl to Spring Mountain. And on the 95 in the West Valley, slowing is from Cheyenne Avenue to Summerlin Parkway. Now, on the surface streets, a lot of activity with a crash hit and run. Accident investigation continues on Rainbow north of Blue Diamond. And an injury accident on Rancho southbound at Washington. Watch for police and fire staged at the scene. After an accident, the insurance company won't have your back. That's why you need personal injury attorney Sam and Ash, because you deserve what's right. Visit them now at samandash.com or call 1-800-304-2000. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I shopped the many highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $27 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-423-4557. That's 800-423-4557. 800-423-4557. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at selectquote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally, so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
Sean Hannity, weekdays noon to 3 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. By the way, a reminder, you can stream us live right now. Go on our Vegas Take page on YouTube. Campaign doing a great job with that. And coming up on hour number 2, we are going to talk about red flag laws, ABC 13's Darcy Spears with their Dirty Dining segment. And we'll get to some of these comments that Donald Trump made yesterday. So we'll talk about that. But joining us in studio right now, he is news anchor here at KDWN, John Schaefer. John, what's going on, man?
Well, 2 7th-grade girls were arrested. They're charged with making terroristic threats at Tarkanian Middle School. A note found on a bathroom wall at the school warning students there'd be a shooting on Wednesday. Police investigated. They deemed the threat was not credible. The note was traced back to the 12 and 13-year-old girls. Both have been booked into the juvenile detention center.
Okay, so you said 7-year-old girls?
7th grade
Oh,
girls.
7th
They're
grade. I'm
12
sorry.
and 13.
Okay, that is old enough to know. Okay, if it was a 7-year-old that did it, maybe I would have a little bit of You are 12 and 13 years old, and you write something. I mean, they should be expelled as far as I'm concerned. Get them the hell out of there. And why don't you do some parenting with these parents? You know, what good parents, responsible parents, have a 13-year-old that writes that in school? I can't think of any. So I don't know. These are serious times.
Yeah.
If you write something dumb like that, get those stupid girls out of the school system as far as I'm concerned. Maybe some people might think that's too harsh for a 13-year-old. In the times we're living in, I don't think it is.
I think the parents, the parents have to be involved with that too.
I agree. 100%. Yeah.
Boxing legend Leon Spinks in the hospital here in Las Vegas.
Oh.
The boxer best known for beating Muhammad Ali in 1978. Spinks' family would not say why the boxer has been hospitalized, but TMZ is reporting he is in dire condition.
Oh, no.
Spinks was inducted into the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame in 2017.
Class act. I met him. Yeah. I met him last year at the Luxor. Could not have been a nicer guy. Was a great fighter back in the day too. And while we wish him well, we hope he's able to get out of this thing. That's sad news.
Raiders are taking a survey of personal seat license holders about the parking plan for the new Allegiant Stadium. Questions are centered on where fans want to park, if they want to tailgate, and where they want to tailgate. Survey presented season ticket holders with various parking and pricing options ranging from $5 to $100 for game day parking. Depends on the lot's proximity to the stadium and if tailgating is permitted in that lot.
Well, I've got good news, Vegas fans. You could just park where 58 people lost their lives and died because MGM has turned that not into sacred ground. They've turned that into a pay to park. Great move, MGM. Really great job because we know you're really hurting financially. So that really makes complete sense. I'm sorry, John. I had to go on my rant there. I'm very passionate.
Right.
I'm very passionate like you are on that October 1 day, and what MGM is doing with that parking lot, pay to park, to me is absolutely disgusting. I'm sorry.
That's why I bring you the news, because I want to hear your opinion.
I appreciate that.
Governor Steve Sisolak says the state might not reimburse 2 rural counties seeking disaster relief aid over Storm Area 51 events that attracted less than anticipated crowds in September. Sisolak panned requests from Lincoln and Nye counties. The governor says Lincoln County approved event permits over state opposition and that taxpayers shouldn't be on the hook to pay.
Oh, campaign, what do you think about that?
I wanted to go to the event, but I didn't think it was organized that well. So I think I don't think we should pay for it. I don't think no taxpayers should
exactly.
pay. No, not at all.
No.
You know what I'm saying? They rolled the dice and
it didn't work out.
Yeah,
They
it did
sevened
not
out.
work out.
They sevened
Exactly.
out. Take the line away. 7 out.
Yeah.
Aliens, get out of here. All right, Mr. Schaefer, always appreciate the news, my friend. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
I want to get right into this subject. Normally, I take a break right after the news, but I'm so excited to talk about Donald Trump's antics. I just want to get right into this. So Donald Trump was speaking during a campaign rally the other day at the Giant Center in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Never heard of that, but I guess it's a pretty big facility. Okay. Okay. So during a campaign rally, just hours after House Democrats unveiled articles of impeachment, President Donald Trump criticized an arena security guard for not being sufficiently rough while removing a woman who protested at the event. So I want to play you this audio. This is Donald Trump on Tuesday night in Pennsylvania.
Get her out. Get her out. See, these guys want to be so politically correct. Yeah, get her out. You see that? I'll tell you, law enforcement's so great. That particular guy wanted to be so politically correct. Oh. We don't want to be politically correct. I don't know who he was. He didn't do the greatest job.
All right, that's it. I can't hear more of this. This is so disgusting to me. Okay, by the way, this isn't the first time that Donald Trump condoned violence. Listen, I think if you are a protester and you go to a political event to try to interrupt, you're a moron, you're a loser. You're not necessarily breaking the law. You're not breaking the law. You have a right to do that, but you're an idiot. I don't think that's the best way of handling it. With that being said, Donald Trump is mocking the security guard that escorted this woman out of the event. How disgusting is Donald Trump? See, this is exactly what I am talking about. When people say, oh, Brian, look, the country's doing great. Do you condone a president of the United States condoning violence? By the way, this isn't the first time he did this. And it won't be the last time either. During a rally in 2016, he promised to pay the legal fees of anyone who attacks a protester. He said, if you see somebody getting ready to throw a tomato, knock the crap out of them, would you? Wow. During another event, Trump complained that a protester was receiving high fives as he left. He said, I'd like to punch him in the face. I'll tell you that. And during a winter event in 2016, Trump told security to take the protesters' coats. He said, throw them out into the cold. Don't give them their coats. No coats. Confiscate the coats. Okay? This is the president of the United States condoning violence.
Wow.
Okay? When somebody protests at a Donald Trump event or any political event, proper protocol is not to rough up the protester unless the protester is physically assaulting the security guard and there's violence involved. This woman was not showing any violence at all. She was yelling and saying things with her sign, but there was no violence here. And Donald Trump thinks because he's the president, right? The law doesn't abide to him or his supporters, apparently, that he wanted, what did he want? He wanted that security guard to what? Rough up that woman, punch her in the face, assault her?
He wanted him to be more or less politically correct.
Well, no, he wanted him to rough her up.
He was condoning a little violence.
He was condoning violence. Make no mistake about it.
There's no way around it. He was condoning a little violence.
He's done it before. He will do it again. Okay, and this has happened before. So here's my question to anybody out there. You could be a Trump supporter and you could not be a Trump. I want to know, is there anybody out there that condones this kind of behavior by the president of the United States? We're not talking about the impeachment inquiry. We're not talking politics here. This has nothing to do with politics and everything to do with the president of the United States, the leader of the free world, condoning violence. Make no mistake about it. That is exactly what he did the other night. And he has done it before. And I just read those examples verbatim. And when I tell people all the time that there's two different types of Republicans, here's what I mean by that. And I'll explain. There are, and by the way, the number to call is 257-5396. Again, that number, if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-257-5396. We're talking about the president's remarks and basically condoning violence. That's exactly what he did. He said that the security guard was being too politically correct. Condoning violence. basically wanting her to get roughed up. And he's made these comments before. Again, that number 257-5396. There's two different types of Republicans out there. There are the type of Republicans, including politicians, that will kiss the president's ass. There are the types of Republicans that say the president can do no wrong. There are the types of Republicans that say, this is what he really meant. He wasn't condoning violence. The president wasn't condoning violence. That's not what he was doing. And they will defend him at odds end. And then there are the people that I like to call the reasonable Republicans. These are the people that say the president's behavior was wrong. I don't support it. I wish he'd stop doing it, but I support his policies, blah, 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 blah here. But he can't condone violence at his rallies. This stuff needs to stop. It sets a bad example for the country. Again, those are the type of people that I call reasonable Republicans. I'll tell you what, there's not many of them. There's not many of them that I speak to on a regular basis. They're out there, but there's not many of them. And, here's what I want. I want somebody like Lindsey Graham. I want somebody like the useless turtle, Mitch McConnell. I want somebody to say, this is wrong. This behavior is wrong. It needs to stop. It doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican. There are kids at this rally. Kids. There are people with, kids that support this president that are clapping and cheering when the president is condoning violence on a stage. That is wrong. And don't you dare call me a snowflake. Don't say, oh, come on, the president's just having fun. Okay, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about completely irresponsible remarks by the President of the United States. Remember, if you see somebody getting ready to throw a tomato, knock the crap out of them. He also said that he would be willing to pay the legal fees. If you rough up a protester, this is inappropriate. It's beneath the presidency, and it's wrong. And the number to call 257-5396. That's 702-257-5396.
Well, I think this is just me. I'm not a Democrat or Republican, and I think labels are wrong and stuff, right? And let's just take all the labels off of it. And if this man saying this at condoning violence, it doesn't matter who you are. It's just wrong is wrong and right is right. There is no getting around it. Just take all the labels off of everything. And would you want someone like that in front of your kids? Condoning violence, like get that person. What if that was your child?
Of course.
Stuff, you know what I'm saying? That just had an opinion that just went there like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to protest because I think it's wrong. And they did that and they're not hurting anyone. And then someone chose to beat them down.
I completely agree with you. And, I'd like to know if anyone wants to defend this. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Carla. Carla, you're up first on the Vegas Take. What's up?
What's up, Carla?
Yeah, hi, good morning. I would just like to know, where was your outrage when Maxine Waters, she got out and tell people in a public square to go attack Republicans, conservatives.
Where were you when
they're not welcome
sure.
and to incite violence, okay?
Sure. My question
to you.
Hold on.
Where was your outrage with that, sir?
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Where were you when I was talking about that on the radio the day after she said it?
I obviously wasn't listening.
Well, obviously you weren't. So I will answer your question and I will say it like this. And by the way, you're right. You weren't listening. I call out Democrats when they say stupid things.
Sir, I work and I happen to have a little time in between work. So I'm a middle class, deplorable American.
Okay, excuse me. I'm just going to finish my answer to your question. Okay, you made an assumption about me that is not correct.
I'm calling you and I'm asking you.
And I asked you, where were you the day after?
I'm calling you. What is your opinion, sir?
Okay,
That's
I will give you my opinion, but I just wanted to start and be clear by saying I called out Maxine Waters after she made those ignorant, stupid comments. I am not a defender of Maxine Waters. I think she says stupid things, and when she made
where was your outcry when Hillary Clinton called all the people the deplorables?
Okay, so let me ask you a question since I just answered your Maxine Waters question. Okay. Why are we doing whataboutism? Okay, I'm talking about Donald Trump. So I want to ask you a question now. Where is your outrage to Donald Trump? I answered your question with all due respect, Carla. Do you have outrage with Donald Trump? Because that's what we're talking about now. Even though I answered your question, do you have a problem with
Donald Trump, our president, has a right.
Oh my God! Here we go.
To remove somebody if they're being disruptive to a rally.
That's not all he said, and I'm gonna repeat some of the things he said in the past. He said I'd like to punch him in the face in regards to somebody. He also mocked the person who escorted this woman out a few days ago. Mocked him for not roughing her up. Okay, mocked him for being too politically correct. So I will ask you the question again. I answered your question honestly. You know why? Because I attacked both sides of the aisle. So this is a special moment for you, Carla. Will you call out the President of the United States for condoning violence? Yes or no?
I think our president has been roughed up enough.
See, you're not capable. Carla, you're not capable because you're biased. Get off my show. 257-5396 is the number to call.
Carla.
Yeah, you see,
good call,
that
Carla.
is a no, it wasn't a good call. That was
thank you.
That was a perfect example of what I'm talking about. That is an unreasonable Republican. I honestly answered her question. And she asked, she did whataboutism, but that's fine. I answered her question. Maxine Waters and her comments were ridiculous. She assumed, because this is what ignorant Republicans do. They assume that if you attack Donald Trump or you mock Donald Trump or you criticize Donald Trump, I'm not even mocking, I'm criticizing him, that you must defend every Democrat.
Brian, what exactly were these protesters doing?
What exactly were these
what were
protesters
they
doing? They were holding up signs,
Okay.
and they were, I would imagine, trying to cause a disturbance.
In what way were they?
They were screaming out things and holding up a sign like most protesters would do.
They were just yelling and holding up the sign. They weren't.
No, there was no violence.
There was no physical altercation with anyone from the Trump crowd at all.
Zero. And we played the zero. And if there was physical, then you think I'd be talking this tune? Absolutely not. I would say, you know what? The security guards do need to be a little physical.
It doesn't make sense if there wasn't physical to recommend physical.
Of course it doesn't make sense. Donald Trump doesn't make a lot of sense.
That's too over the top, especially considering the fact that protesting at a rally is their right as American citizens.
Yeah, and they
it is their constitutional right.
And the president has the right to escort them out by security.
Of course he does.
I don't have a problem with that either. You know where my problem lies.
But not suggesting that, hit their head on the door on their way out or something.
Of course.
I totally agree with that.
And this is, again, I want to mention this again with that last woman who called in. This is what I was talking about. There's reasonable Republicans and there's unreasonable Republicans. You know why she's unreasonable. I gave her an opportunity. I answered her stupid question, and here's why it was ridiculous. Because she assumed. She made an assumption about me. And you remember when Maxine Waters made those comments, and I thought they were ridiculous.
Right. And again, this Trump isn't setting. I mean, he's not the first president to do something like this, or the first member of, we'll call it the government, to do something like this. Right. Maxine Waters is an example of someone who has done something similar.
And I called her out for it as well.
Right.
And I try to be as fair as I can. But that woman who just called in is completely biased. She is not capable of criticizing the president. Her opinion is not valid. Zero credibility. 257-5396. Let's go to Brian. Brian, you're next on the Vegas Take. Go ahead.
What's up, Brian?
Did we lose Brian? All right, let's take our next caller. 257-5396. Let's go to Ken. Ken, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's going on, man?
What's up, Ken?
How you doing?
Good.
So,
doing great.
Yeah, so you got to hear this kind of all out before you get on me. But I fully support Donald Trump, but I'm going to tell you why I support Donald Trump. But let me tell you this first, because I'm going to go this far. Donald Trump's a freaking idiot. Okay, but he is doing what needed to be done in the United States because people were going to sleep on politics. And I always said this, even when the days when Ross Perot was looking to run, we needed an outsider in the government. Donald Trump is a has-been. He's going to come and go. He's doing great. The economy's great. We're doing great. He's making some changes. Fantastic. But the people just need to see that Donald Trump is not against the people. He's trying to do what he can do. Maybe he's got some ulterior motives.
Can I ask you a question, Ken?
Yes.
Ken, and listen, I respect your opinion. You sound reasonable, but I want to stick to this subject, if I may. When he calls for violence, and that's clearly what he's done on several occasions in these rallies, I would imagine a man like you would not agree with that, and you think it's beneath the presidency. Am I wrong in assuming that about you?
Yeah, you're right. I think some of the things he says is totally off the wall and stupid. And above, the comments he makes are way below his position. Yes. Yeah. There's no doubt about that at all.
I think he gets fired up.
To everybody. He tries to talk to everybody like they're a 10-year-old. And because he thinks, he does. He thinks he's better than everybody else. And, hey, he's a rich guy. He's made some money.
Yeah, but just because you have money.
I think he gets fired up and he makes impulsive statements like that in situations like he does in front of his rally.
Listen, Ken,
his base.
Ken, I appreciate your comments, my friend. I got to get to some other callers, but I respect your opinion. That is what I call a reasonable Republican. He's willing to call out the ridiculous, absurd behavior of Donald Trump. He's willing to criticize the president. That is when I can have a respectful. I don't necessarily agree with everything he said, but
the way when he says, the politically correct, rough them up, whatever you want to say about that, it's kind of like he's it's kind of like he thinks he's on the WWE stage.
Right. He thinks it's a reality show.
He actually does. I think he actually thinks that he's an entertainer, and that's just. I mean, and to a degree he is, but unless those American citizens are being violent, then you have no right, even as President of the United States, to recommend that that violence should happen to them.
257-5396. Let's go to Chili. Chili, you're next on the Vegas Take. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
What's up, Chili?
Hey, what's up, Brian? JD, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, pardon me, you caught me biting my sandwich.
That's okay.
Hey, so with this Trump attitude and all,
yes,
I think he's kind of, nothing's going to be perfect, but he's setting the tone. So we got people, Antifa, all out there across the states.
There was no Antifa at his rally the other night. That's not what we're talking about.
Oh, no, I didn't say last night, though.
Okay,
you
but
said that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Let me get my point across, Brian. It's really cool.
Please.
You see, there's a tone out there with these Democrats that they're invincible. That's why they're doing what they're doing, probably hiding other stuff. But
what does this have to do with his comments the other day? I'm trying not to interrupt you. We are specifically talking about the president condoning violence at his rallies, and I want to get your thoughts on that, Chili.
Okay, so here it is. God forbid if Jimmy Carter was a Republican, he was president right now, that softy, we would be walked all over by all the Democratic side because they're such bullies.
So you're making an inference to Jimmy Carter and condoning the president of the United States.
Trump is not like Jimmy Carter.
So you're condoning the president of the United States, basically condoning violence.
What I'm doing is condoning him setting the tone when it's appropriate.
And you think that was appropriate?
Sit there and act like a Jimmy Carter peanut.
Okay. Let's forget about Jimmy Carter for a second. I'm not a Jimmy Carter supporter. I'm not a Jimmy Carter defender. Let's specifically talk about his comments the other night and his comments at rallies condoning violence. Let's try to stay on topic here. Forget about your hatred towards Democrats for a second. Forget about the fact that Donald Trump is a Republican. Do you condone the president's behavior the other night at his rally?
When he said politically correct, he meant himself, not the guard.
What are you talking about? He was mocking the guard. Did you not? All right, hold on a second, Chili. I want you to hang on here. Play the clip for me. Play it for Chili because I don't think he heard it. This is Donald Trump.
Get her out. Get her out. See, these guys want to be so politically correct. Yeah, get her out. You see that? I'll tell you, law enforcement's so great. That particular guy wanted to be so politically correct. Oh. We don't want to be politically correct. I don't know who he was. He didn't do the greatest job. So they tried to frame innocent people.
Okay, so I just want to rephrase what he just said there because I think that last statement, he didn't do a very good job.
Brian.
I'm sorry?
Correct on that.
Okay. So did I change your opinion maybe a little bit, Chili?
Just a little bit. Thank God he's the way he is because it makes Republicans fighters in the right way. We're sensible people, Brian. We're not going to go out there like an Antifa and slap people in the head.
Okay. Well, what about? So you're talking about Republicans being all sensible people? Is that what you're saying?
Many of them are. Their families and their workers.
So what would you? Okay, that's fair.
That's why you're going to vote for him too,
that's
baby.
fair. So what would you say about the vice president that thinks that homosexuals should go to conversion therapy? Would you call that sensible? What would you say about it? What would you? Hold on a second.
Homosexuals.
Oh boy, here we go.
Way beyond that. Homosexuals should go home and just be their own people and not say, hey, I'm a homo. I don't care what you're doing, dude. If you want Harry, go for Harry.
That's not the vice president's position. He thinks that if you are a homosexual, you should go to conversion therapy. In fact, his wife works at a no. His wife works at a school that doesn't allow homosexuals to go to school there or to teach there. With all due respect, I appreciate the phone call. I'm glad I was able to change your right-wing bias mind just a little bit. I've done my bit. If I can change one mind today, that's all I need to do. Let's go to Paul. Paul, you're next on the Vegas Take. Go ahead.
I'm one of the Republicans that you would call sensible.
Good.
I don't agree with the president or any other person thinking that a man should do violence on a woman or anybody else. what I do appreciate about the president is the policies that he's bringing forth for our country. The problem with the president is he's not a politician; he's a businessman.
Paul,
and our country has needed that
yeah.
for a long time.
Paul, I don't disagree with most of what you said, and you do sound very sensible. And I talk to a lot of people like you on a daily basis that hate the president's rhetoric, the way he behaves, the things he says. And then we talk about policy. Look, some of his policies I do agree with, and I always tell people on the air all the time, Paul, and you've probably heard me say this before, 95% of the reason why I dislike the president has zero to do with policy and everything to do with the way he's lived his life and the things he says and does, his behavior on a regular basis.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't think I'd want to hang out with him, but I do like the direction that he's taking the country. You know, I don't know the exact numbers, but I believe just California as an example, and that's where I'm from.
Right.
I believe it has the 7th largest economy in the entire world, and it's broke. What does that tell you?
No, Paul, listen, Paul, I don't disagree with you, and I'm not going to defend Democrats, that's for sure. And I'm sorry, Paul, I'm up against a hard break here, but we're going to take more of your calls coming up. That number 257-5396. Now Trump supporters think there's going to be a civil war. We have some audio to play for you outside of that rally. That's right. They think if Trump isn't elected in 2020, there's going to be a civil war. I mean, you want to talk about people with a low IQ. We'll take your phone calls and we'll get more of your reaction. We have Carl, Marge, Dr. Doug, Keetra. We have 2 phone lines open if you'd like to call in at 257-5396. What do you think about this? Are you okay with the president condoning violence at his rallies? Make no mistake about it. That's what he's done in the past, and he'll do it again. He did it the other night. 257-5396 is the number to call. We will take a quick break. Be back right after this. You are listening to The Vegas Take.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever. 99 cents plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pod sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
They say the holidays are the most stressful time of the year, but not for me, man. I love the holidays. Hi, I'm Dave Mizrahi, owner of Best Mattress. But if the holidays have you feeling a bit funky, good news. At our Best Mattress holiday sale, save hundreds on all our best brands: Serta, Sealy, Beautyrest, Stearns & Foster, and Tempur-Pedic. And if you're racking your brain for a gift idea, bundle and save 25% on Pure Care bedding essentials. Plus, get up to 72 months, no interest financing. Best Mattress. Sleep easy, friends.
Hey, it's Lee Goldberg of the GCI Guys at Realty One Group. Do you know anyone that's looking to buy a home, sell a home, rent, move from California? If so, give them my number, 702-902-3029. All listeners of the Vegas Take get $1,000 in your hand back at closing. Hometown heroes, veteran, military, police, teacher, nurse, I'm giving you $2,000 back. That also goes for hospitality and casino employees. Free use of a moving truck for a day, 6 free months of home security. Call me, 702-902-3029, the GCI Guys.
Kilmeade, Hannity, Levin, 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN, Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Hot debate on the Hill. Hate-inspired terrorism. I'm Mike Moss. Democrats and Republicans are sparring over the 2 articles of impeachment written against the president: abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. Ranking member Doug Collins.
Abuse of power for article of impeachment means anything they want it to mean. It is the carte blanche coverage. It's saying, we don't really have a case to our caucus, but go out and make it up. Just go out and say what you don't like. If he didn't say something nice to this, if he didn't do a policy you don't like, do this and that's going to cover you. You'll be okay. Because remember, this is always about an election.
Democrat Madeline Dean.
Facts do matter. Notice the contrast between the conversation on this side of the aisle and that. They run away from the facts. They're afraid to admit to themselves or to the American public of what the president's behavior really adds up to.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she expects the articles will be forwarded to the floor of the House.
This is nothing swift about it, but it is urgent. And so we will be bringing the articles. The committee will work on it today.
Top House Republican Kevin McCarthy.
The 2 articles that they have, I don't think stand on any merit itself, but whatever they decide to bring forth on a defense, I have no fear.
New Jersey Attorney General Gurbir Graywall has just said the attack that killed an officer and 3 civilians at a Jewish market in Jersey City is now being considered an act of domestic terrorism inspired by anti-Semitism.
We believe that the suspects held views that reflected hatred of the Jewish people, as well as a hatred of law enforcement.
A total of 6 people, including the man and women, a woman who carried out the attack, 3 civilians, and a police officer, died in a series of events that ended in a police shootout on Tuesday. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 127. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report sponsored by Inspirata. Watch for slowing for a crash reported I-15 northbound at Lake Mead Boulevard. Right now, our cameras are showing only light to moderate volume in the area. No delays on the 95 east side or west side. And an accident on the surface streets at Russell east of Eastern Avenue. Injury sustained still a factor. Join Inspirata Saturday, December 14th for their Holiday Village event. Bring the whole family and enjoy train rides, caricatures, cooking demos, and much more. Learn more at inspirata.com/holidayvillage. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
It's open enrollment season, and Medishare is the Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google Medishare and see if it's a fit for you. Medishare, healthcare you can believe in.
If your retirement plan is on set it and forget it, it's time to take control. Tune in for Financial Safari with America's Wealth Coach and best-selling author, Coach Pete D'Arruda. For more than 25 years, Coach Pete has been helping people just like you plan for retirement. Join Coach Pete every week as he discusses topics like why your retirement plan should also be an income plan and how to make sure you're getting the most out of your 401k.
Financial Safari with Coach Pete, Saturday morning at 10 a.m. and Sunday afternoon at 2 on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
Hi, this is Harvey Blankfeld, host of Las Vegas Real Estate Now. Please tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. and listen to us deliver timely, balanced truths about our market right here in Southern Nevada. You know, there's nothing that I enjoy more than educating our listeners about real estate, except maybe a well-prepared Reuben sandwich where the corned beef is really lean. Sorry, I digress. But please do tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. and learn about real estate right here on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDON, the talk of Las Vegas.
'Tis the season to be saving at Centennial Toyota. Toyotathon is on all month long, where you can get huge year-end discounts on every new Toyota. That's right, we'll do whatever it takes to help you get out of your old car and into a new Toyota. Shop hundreds of new Camrys, Corollas, Prius, RAV4s, Highlanders, Siennas, Tundras, and Tacomas. Lease a new 2020 Toyota RAV4 LE for just $189 a month. $189 a month. 'Tis the season to be saving. Toyotathon is on all month long at Centennial Toyota. Conveniently located on North US 95 in the 215 Beltway. Or visit us at centennialtoyota.com. Auto-proof credit, model 4430, 36-month lease, $52.81 due, 0 security, add taxes, title, and $4.99 dealer fees. Ends 1/6/2020.
101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON, the talk of Las Vegas. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. Rolling out the red carpet, baby. It's hour number 2. It is the Vegas Take. Boy, does that first hour go by fast. We're joined in studio. It is Sharp and Shapiro, as well as Campaign, our videographer, broadcasting live here on YouTube. And, of course, we're taking your phone calls as well at 257-5396, talking about the president's conduct at his campaign rally the other day, condoning violence once again. This isn't anything old for the president. You know, he's done it. He's done it before, or I shouldn't say isn't anything new. He said, boy, I really want to punch him in the face in regards to a protester. He said he'd pay the legal fees of someone who roughed up a protester. This is the kind of stuff he's done before, and we're taking your phone calls on that. We'll get to your phone calls in just a second. Hang tight here. I want to play a little bit of audio. These are from some people outside, supporters of Donald Trump, outside this rally that say if Donald Trump is removed from office, there's going to be some sort of civil war and riot. I want you to have a listen to this.
He's not going to be removed. He's not going to be removed. He's not going to be removed.
You feel confident in that?
My 357 Magnum is comfortable with that. End of story.
And they remove him in the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll cause physical violence in this country that we haven't seen since the first Civil War. I think it'll become the second Civil War.
I would think that there would be a strong movement. Would be very negative. Possible violence. Not that I'm condoning violence. There'll be a lot of mad Americans. Possibly 70 million Americans on the loose, not very happy.
All right, so first of all, let's talk about the Nimrod who sounded like he had an IQ of about 20, who lives somewhere in Alabama in his mobile home and is probably having sex with his cousin, who just said, oh, if Donald Trump is removed, I got my 357 Magnum. See, that is why we need red flag laws in a flight, because if a Nimrod makes a statement like that, he's too dumb to own a weapon. Okay, that as far as I'm concerned, there's not going to be a civil war. Yeah, there might be some idiots like that guy who said he's got his 357 Magnum that might protest and riot. But, there's not going to be some sort of civil war. It just shows you the lack of intelligence of some people. Listen, I'm sure if there's people on the left that would probably say the same thing if Hillary Clinton was in office and there was some sort of impeachment scandal, there'd probably be a bunch of dumb people on the left that would probably say the same thing. The point I'm trying to make is there are a lot of idiots in society. There are a lot of ignorant people, and they need to be called out for that. The number to call is 257-5396, 702-257-5396. Let's go to Kitra. Kitra, thank you for waiting on hold and being patient. How are you?
What's up, Kitra?
No worries. I'm well. I'm on my way to acupuncture from Pahrump.
Oh,
so
that sounds painful. That sounds painful.
It's fantastic.
Does it actually work?
Well, yes and no. I'm still a lunatic, but I've got needles in me.
Hey, Kitra, most people that I talk to that are driving to Pahrump are not going there for acupuncture. Most of the men are going there for other reasons. Just ask Lamar Odom how that worked out.
Like golf.
I'm driving from Pahrump, and actually that place used to have a great BLT. I've been there. You can go to the restaurant. Anyway, as for future, when you're out in Pahrump.
Gotcha.
Okay, I am not a Republican. I am not a Democrat. I would consider myself a libertarian.
Okay.
And I voted for Donald Trump, and I would vote for him again. However, every time he opens his mouth, I just picture his advisors somewhere like in a little bunker drinking shots of Patron and wishing he would choke on his tongue.
Yeah, I do think there are a lot of people underneath Donald Trump. By the way, not just since he's been president. I think there are a lot of people that have been around the president that have wanted to say something, but they're the ones that hold their tongue, but he's got all the money and he's the boss.
Exactly, forever. However, you did get my attention when you said, what if your kid was there or there were kids at this rally?
Right.
And I have to admit, I was not a listener when this previous incident I'm going to reference happened. But what was your opinion then on the Nick Sandman who was wearing the MAGA hat?
Yeah.
Who was, it was apparently, the big hubbub was he was trying to intimidate the Native American veteran.
Well, here's my opinion on that. I don't think he was trying to intimidate anybody. I also don't think he deserves a $100 million settlement. I believe he had that stupid smirk on his face. And here's my question. If you're in a volatile situation, what do you teach your kids? They have a right to wear a MAGA hat. They have a right to stand there. They have that right. But if I have kids in that situation, I would say, look, if you're in a volatile situation, there were Hebrew Israelites that were there that were yelling obnoxious things. Get yourself out of that situation.
Right.
Don't stand there with a smirk on your face. He lied. He lied in front of the cameras because his family as an attorney told him in that interview. Say that you were trying to de-escalate the situation. What like-minded, normal individual would say they're trying to de-escalate the situation by standing a foot away from somebody with a dumb smirk on your face wearing a MAGA hat? Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
I totally get it. I just feel like big party politics on both sides
absolutely
has decreased the respect we all have for each other, and divided us so greatly. There's this chasm, and I'm like, we're all the same, guys. We're on the same team. Can't we just agree to disagree on some stuff?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. That's the thing, Kitra, and I appreciate your comments and your phone call. Good luck with that acupuncture, by the way.
Yes,
Boy, that sounds painful.
Call, Kitra.
257-5396.
I want to try some of that.
Not me. Let's go to Jay. Jay, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's up?
What's up, Jay?
Yeah,
I think there's too much white bashing going on here for my take. I think what the president said was fine. I don't agree with everything the president says or defend most of his actions.
What do you
But the
mean
whole
white
stereo-
bashing? What do you mean white bashing? What does race have to do with this?
You know, the whole bigotry and stereotypes of living in the trailer, sleeping with your cousin. I mean, it's getting old.
Okay, I apologize if that offended you, but there are a lot of ignorant people that live in the state of Alabama, in my personal opinion. And I think he fixed that stereotype. So I'm sorry if you were offended by a stereotype. I hope you're also offended by Donald Trump's stereotypes when he says Mexicans entering the border, they're rapists, they're bad people, and I suppose some of them are good people. I hope you were offended by that stereotype.
No, I think Brian was just making fun of a person who would say something like that, regardless of the color of their skin. It had nothing to do with the fact that he was Caucasian.
Yeah.
He just happened to be Caucasian.
Yeah, I have no problem with anybody, and I don't look at the color of one's skin and make assumptions. But when somebody says something dumb, I am going to attack them for it.
I know, but I mean, we're not blind. We're not kids. We know what those stereotypes refer to. And, you know, we never hear you talk about those who live gangster areas and all those monkeys with their pants half down.
Wait, did you just call an African American? Did you just call an African American a monkey? Did you just say that on a 50,000-watt radio station? Are you a grand wizard? Are you in the KKK? Because you just won a racist remark of the year. Did you just call African Americans monkeys? Did you just say that on the air, Jay?
Calling somebody a monkey isn't racist.
Oh, really? Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. We have an African American that's in studio right now. Why don't you have a conversation with him? Go ahead, Campaign.
So when you say monkey, who are you referring to?
I'm referring to uneducated people who cause crime and havoc on our communities, and at the same time want to blame others for their problems.
So anybody can be a monkey then, like a white monkey?
Yeah.
Really?
So okay. So
right.
that's a term that you use.
Here's what I think.
Regularly, like when you see something, you're like, man, that monkey over there, and you're referring to white people. That's
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
So you use the term monkey like we use the term clown.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my parents used to say, "Stop monkeying around."
Okay. All right. That's fine, Jay. Here's what I think, Jay. Here's what I think, Jay. I think you got caught, and I think you're a racist.
Yeah.
That's what I think. You just got caught on a 50,000-watt radio station calling minorities monkeys.
Yes,
that's what I think. That's what I think, Jay.
That's
So
exactly
don't you?
what that was.
Yeah. So don't you give me your defense and your crap. All right. 257-5396.
And actually, there was a situation where remember there was a guy that robbed a gas station, and his family was standing up for him, and he happened to be African American, and we were pretty hard on him and his family. So
absolutely,
it's just a matter of ignorance, regardless of what race you are.
Of course,
we typically call it out.
Of course, 257-5396. That guy just got caught, and he didn't like it. Let's go to Bob. Bob, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's going
Bob?
on?
What's up, Bob?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
I actually had one comment to make, but while listening to the show, it gave me another idea to talk about. And a previous caller, you referred to the gentleman that was talking about he would handle the situation with his 357.
Yeah.
That was totally incorrect. I mean, that's inappropriate. I agree with that. But I also think that your response to that he was from Alabama, lived in a mobile home, and possibly had a relationship with a relative.
Yeah.
That was very unprofessional.
Well, you know what? You can.
As well.
Oh, that's fine. You can call me unprofessional, but here's my. I guess not everybody that lives in a mobile home is dumb, and not everybody that lives in Alabama has sex with their cousin. Okay, let me be very clear on that, Bob. But anybody who says that if the president is taken out of office, they're going to use their 357.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a Timothy McVeigh type character, somebody who is ignorant, who lives in that sort of situation, and it's I guess you could call it a stereotype, but what I'm doing is I'm mocking an ignorant individual.
You're suggesting that anyone who says what that person says may have a slighter chance or a stronger chance of living in a mobile home and having relations with a relative.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, regardless, I still think it was an inappropriate comment.
Okay,
but
so
I want to get to my main point.
Yes.
I'll get back to the incident with the protester at the Pennsylvania rally recently, and I think we're all missing the point here. I think what the president was referring to was the security guard policeman had fear of how to remove this person.
That's not what he said. That's not what he said. Bob, that's not what he said. And by the way, there's a history. Donald Trump said, I'd like to punch him in the face in the past in talking about a protester. He also said, if you see somebody getting ready to throw a tomato, knock the crap out of them. He also said, throw them in the cold. Don't give them their coats. No coats. Confiscate their coats. He also said he would pay the legal fees of someone that beat the crap out of a protester. So here's the thing, Bob. We're not just talking about one statement from the other day. We're talking about a history of comments that Donald Trump makes about protesters. He decided to mock a security guard that was doing his job. Do you understand where I'm coming from, Bob?
I do, and I'm not saying those statements the president made were appropriate. I'm just saying the focus was on the security guards. How do I handle this situation?
And he did his job. He did his job, Bob. He escorted this woman out of the facility. That's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to knock him out. You're not supposed to rough her up. Bob, I got to get to some other callers. I appreciate your phone call, but we have a lot of lines that are busy right now. 257-5396. Let's go to Dr. Doug. Dr. Doug, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's up?
Good morning, Brian, JD.
What's up, Doug?
I really hope more people who actually are conservatives have the chance to listen to you all when you're on, because Brian, you've got it dead on quite a few topics, and that's why I like listening to you, because you're honest.
Thank you.
And Donald Trump, number one, I told you before, about me. I am conservative, but every time he opens his mouth and says something stupid, I just cringe. I want to go hide under a rock.
Yeah.
For supporting someone that doesn't use their brain when they think.
How do you think Melania feels? Maybe that's why she's sleeping in another bed.
Yeah, something. I think it'd be rather rough to be his partner. I do agree. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Your partner, the king, is kind of funky. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just take a look at him naked. That's a tough thought. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I gotta go eat. The other thing you're dead on about is, and it just came up when I was listening just now. We talked the other day about guns and regulation and regulating guns.
Right.
You came up with probably the best idea I've heard in a long time. We drive a 4,500-pound vehicle full of steel, aluminum, and we could kill somebody with it, and we have to go every year and re-register it.
Yeah.
That knucklehead with the 357 Magnum needs to go see somebody and be evaluated.
He needs to get a smog check. We need to smog check his head, Dr. Doug. Can you do that? You're a doctor. Can we smog check that moron who thinks
someone that talks like that is not stable enough to own. I waited until I was an adult, and actually not when I turned 18 adult.
Yeah.
I waited a long time before I had a weapon to make sure I was mature enough to deal with it.
Well, Doug, I got to tell you, man, I appreciate your call. I got to get to some other callers. Thank you for listening, and I appreciate your kind words.
Thanks for the call, Doug.
Thank you very much. 257-5396. Let's go to Mike. Mike, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's up?
What's up, Mike?
Good morning, gentlemen. I voted for Trump, and I'm going to hold my nose and vote for him again. But, Brian, you're right. This guy talks in 16ths, and he works in halves. None of his core promises have been kept.
Mm-hmm. Build a wall. Mexico's going to pay for it. Yeah.
His mouth has got him in so much trouble. He squandered 3 years.
Yeah.
This guy is the most powerful man in the world, and all he does is talk. He's
Mike, can I ask you something, Mike? I agree. We agree, Mike. Let me ask you a question. Is there any Democrat on the stage, like any Democrat, that you could say to yourself, you know what, I could see myself voting for him other than Donald? I know it's a tough question. Listen, I'm struggling myself. You know how much, Mike, you listen to the show. You know how much I can't stand Trump, right? Even I'm struggling to find somebody that I could vote for over Trump. So I would imagine it's a hard question.
Absolutely. I think probably Tulsi Gabbard would be a long shot for me.
She's not a Democrat, though. That doesn't count.
Oh, she's not a Democrat? Tulsi Gabbard's not a Democrat?
Well, I don't consider her a Democrat, but that's fair. Okay, give me somebody else.
I have nobody else.
Really?
Brian and JD, because they're all ganging up on Trump even though Trump, in my opinion, is a political moron.
Yeah.
Business-wise, he could be a genius.
I think as a human being,
he's a brilliant marketer. He's a very good businessman.
One core promise that he's kept?
Not many, Mike. You see, Mike, why?
Yeah, but you talk about the wall. We've had Jose Garibay on twice, and he's actually spoken in detail.
For those of you who don't know, hold on.
How the wall is effective.
The wall is 50 years too late. It's too late to build a wall.
Yeah.
It's redundancy, but it's stupid to talk about it because the damage is done to America. You know how I feel about that.
No, I know, Mike. And listen, when I talk about reasonable Republicans, I'm talking about people like you, Mike. We really do appreciate your phone call, Mike.
Good call, Mike.
I got to get
Thank
to
you,
some
Mike.
other callers. 257-5396. Let's go to Randy. Randy, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
What's up, Randy?
Hey, I think one of the big problems with our society in a whole is that depending on what news station you listen to or what TV programs you watch, you only get one end of the conversation, and then you run with it. Like this, you're talking about the kid with the Native American guy and all this other stuff. And yeah, when I first saw it, I was pretty pissed off too. And then all of a sudden, I did some reading and I found out that the Native American guy actually approached the kid.
Yes, he did.
Right.
Yes, he did.
The other guys that the Muslims were
The Hebrew Israelites, which is, by the way,
the black Hebrew
Randy.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Randy, I've talked about that. Those Hebrew.
We discussed that for a full week one time.
Everybody else.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm saying people get their side of the story.
I agree.
Doing some investigating.
Well, Randy, the issue is that
everybody wants to be offended. They're just looking for a reason.
Right. Those one-sided networks are actually paid a lot of money to have those opinions, and they sensationalize it.
Yes.
And they slant it to hit you more, hit you harder emotionally to sway your opinion.
Randy, in regards to what you're talking about, I agree with you. If you watch Fox News, that kid was Mr. Innocent. He deserves $300 million. And then if you listen to CNN or MSNBC, it's the opposite. That kid is a villain and he should go to jail. I'm in the middle on this. Okay,
I am too. What I would like to see? I would like to see both of those. That $100 million come from half of each go to those two networks, and then we take that money and we take care of our own homeless.
You know what, Randy? I would completely
Valid point.
I would completely 100%. Be on board with you on that. We need to do something with the homeless, and we're going to be talking more about that tomorrow on the show. Randy, thank you for the call. I appreciate it.
Hey, good call, Randy.
257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Brian. Brian, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's up?
What's up, Brian? Been a while.
Hey, gentlemen. How you doing?
Doing good.
Hey, I want to tie this back to the opening of the hour, the Nicholas Sandman case. And I'm glad that guy corrected you, Brian, because it was the Native American who walked about 30 yards across the plaza to get in this 16-year-old
I never said that kid was the one that walked in his face. I never said that.
And you put him down because of the smirk. What I like to say is the media did the same thing in this case that they did in the Richard Jewell case, which you were talking about first thing in the hour. This, for 2.5 days, this kid, disrespected and got in the face of this guy. Totally false.
I didn't say that. I never said that, Brian. Can we just focus? Can we stop talking about what everybody else says and talk about what we say? I've been very clear on this. Okay, it was the Hebrew Israelites that were shouting out horrible things. This Native American guy has a history of causing trouble. I've said that on this show before, but I've also said this kid doesn't deserve hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay, if you want to de-escalate, I'm not saying he didn't have a right to stand there. He certainly did, but I'm saying don't make the argument that this kid, what he said was he was trying to de-escalate the situation. You don't stand your ground and have a smirk on your face when you're trying to de-escalate a situation. You know what I would do if I want to de-escalate something? I'd walk away. I'd get out of there.
You know what, Brian? If you were 16 years old, as this kid was,
disagree.
You wouldn't be saying what.
Disagree. I was 16.
And you always go back to this. The smirk he had on his face.
Yeah, because that's what he had.
You don't know what his facial features are like when he's.
Oh, stop it! Come on, now you're being ridiculous, Brian.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. The kid had a smirk on his face. Will you stop making excuses? Let me tell you something.
Will you stop putting him down for having a smirk when he's got 30?
No, I will not. I will not stop. I will not stop. No, I will not stop. And the kid doesn't deserve $1. No, I will not stop.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Post
really?
And CNN are
really?
Pay through the
oh,
nose.
really?
Mark
So in Las Vegas, I know people that have lost limbs at drunk drivers at the expense of a drunk driver. You know what they've gotten? Maybe $2,000. But you're coming on a radio show telling me that stupid kid deserves millions of dollars. Millions?
Brian.
No, it's not apples and oranges. You're telling me a kid deserves millions of dollars because for a day or two the media was attacking him. Give me a frickin' break.
No, his family got death threats. His mom.
That stuff is over with now.
His mom was employed, and her employer received death threats as well.
That stuff is
And Brian-
over with now. There's no lifelong damage here. Give me a break.
There's definitely punitive
No,
damage.
there's
there.
not.
Like just because
Absolutely
he was 16 and like the whole tone of that, and it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth because now since people want to bring that up, and they say and he was standing there and all this other stuff, and if you were 16 and stuff like that. Now if we talk about Zimmerman and the whole other thing, here goes this kid. Young kid, and somebody approaches him. Now everybody was, he had a right to whatever. And then you see what I'm saying? Like there's so many double standards.
I am trying to be as consistent as I can.
Double standards.
Yep. There are
double standards jumping off. That's all I'm saying.
I got about 30 seconds for Brady. Brady, what's going on?
What's up, Brady?
Yeah, good morning. That guy that was smirking, that young kid, when that guy came up to him and he was right in his face and he was beating on that drum with those drumsticks, that kid should have grabbed that drumstick and wrapped him right upside the head.
Yeah, well, what a shocker that you're condoning violence and you're a Donald Trump supporter, Brady. I'm so shocked to hear you say something like that. What a shocker, Brady.
What do you got against people that live in mobile homes and owns guns?
Yeah, because you're that guy. Are you having sex with your cousin Brady? You're that guy. Do you have sex with your cousin Brady? Because you sound like you do.
But I own a couple of double wides. Where do you live, Brian?
Yeah, I'll tell you where I live. I live inside your head because you call into this show every day making stupid remarks. Yeah, there you go. There you go with your Tucker Carlson laugh again. There you go with your girl. Because I'm right. I live inside the dumb head of Brady. That's what I do. That's what I do. Okay, all right, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be joined by Darcy Spears from ABC 13. It is going to be our Dirty Dining segment of the day. I apologize I couldn't get to all your calls, gentlemen, but Darcy does a fantastic job. What are the restaurants that you don't want to see, that you don't want to go to? Well, Darcy's going to share that with us coming up in our next segment. Also coming up in hour number 3, the legend himself, Terry Fator, will be joining us. Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. We got a lot more to get to, folks. You are listening to The Vegas Take. Be back right after this.
Cox Business has fast, reliable internet and voice solutions. Call today and ask how you can get up to a $200 Cox Business Visa prepaid card when you switch. Call 1-800-297-2610. Card issued by MetaBank. Member FDIC. Terms and expiration apply.
I'm Jack Weinstein of the Tower Jewels. For over 50 years, the Tower Jewels has provided Las Vegas with outstanding customer service and top quality jewelry. So come see us at the Tower Jewels today.
Visit Tower Jewels today for store-wide savings on rubies, diamonds, sapphires, and more, all up to 70% off at Tower Jewels. This holiday season, see our master designers and have that something special made for your someone special. Up to 36 months, 0 down, no interest financing available. Tower of Jewels, Santa Claus's manufacturing jeweler.
Do you know if you have enough savings to retire comfortably? If not, it's time to talk to Travis Scribner, managing partner of Westpac Wealth Partners, about developing a plan to build your wealth for the future. Visit LasVegasMoneyResource.com.
Does your child love math? Do they just love math so much that once they finish their homework, they want to work on extra math problems just for fun? Anyone? If you answered no, then you are not alone. While your child may not think math is important for their future, we know better. That's because Infinity the Math Institute offers the best math tutors in Las Vegas, produces the best results at the best prices for kids of all ages. Infinity the Math Institute does it all. Does your child need prep for the SATs? Right now, SAT preparation classes in November are just $15. Fractions, algebra, geometry, decimals, you name it. Plus, Infinity offers homeschool programs, free seminars for parents and students. And whether your child is transitioning from elementary school to middle school to high school, or preparing for college, Infinity can help. Classes are filling up. Call us now to find out more. 702-768-1777. That's 768-1777. You want the best results for your child? One call to Infinity can have a huge impact on your child's future. Call now. 768-1777. Tell them the Vegas Take sent you.
The Jewish market shooters are suspected anti-Semites.
The evidence points towards acts of hate. I can confirm that we're investigating this matter as potential acts of domestic terrorism, fueled both by anti-Semitism and anti-law enforcement beliefs.
The 2 attackers killed a police officer and 3 others. A fierce debate underway in the House Judiciary Committee on the articles of impeachment. More from correspondent Linda Kenyon.
Republican Mike Johnson says the Democrats have no case.
This impeachment's going to fail. The Democrats will pay a heavy political price for it. But the Pandora's box they've opened today
will do irreparable injury to our country in the years ahead.
The 2 articles of impeachment against the president are abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. After a vote in the Judiciary Committee, the full House will take up those articles.
On Wall Street, stocks are up, the Dow up about 130. I'm Mike Moss.
So, what would you do? It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report sponsored by Inspirata. Watch for slowing for a crash reported I-15 northbound at Lake Mead Boulevard. Right now, our cameras are showing only light to moderate volume in the area. No delays on the 95 east side or west side. And an accident on the surface streets at Russell east of Eastern Avenue. Injury sustained still a factor. Join Inspirata Saturday, December 14th for their Holiday Village event. Bring the whole family and enjoy train rides, caricatures, cooking demos, and much more. Learn more at inspirata.com/holidayvillage. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever, 99 cents, plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pods sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
I'm attorney Glenn Lerner. After being a personal injury attorney for 28 years, I've learned a lot of things about insurance companies, and there are a few things I trust more than them. For example, I trust a rabid cobra protecting her babies. I trust a hungry grizzly bear with a steak in my pocket, and I trust a shark in my hot tub.
I'm attorney Kevin Rowe. Get the picture? Hurt in a wreck and need a check? You know who you can trust. Or Lerner and Rowe.
Lerner and Rowe is the way to go. Call 877-1500.
Scott Guido, managing attorney. Kevin Rowe is only licensed in Arizona, New Mexico, Oregon, Washington, and Illinois.
At Aaron's, we love the holiday spirit. The kindness, the giving, the sharing. For us, that spirit has no season. It's always there, and those doing good all year round. That's why we approve good people other stores won't. Your credit isn't the best? Okay. Need more time to pay? Let's work it out. Want flexible payment options? Sure. Lease to own top brands. Delivery is free. Because good people always deserve better. Aaron's. Easy, beautiful, affordable.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally, so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
1015 FM, 720 AM. KDON, the talk of Las Vegas.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. By the way, coming up here in just a few minutes, you want to talk about a wild story. A security guard at Disney showing up naked. It's a wild. There was a press conference about it. It's a wild press conference. Why did he show up naked to Disney as a security guard? We have that story for you coming up here in just a little bit. But right now, joining us on the line, we always love having her on. Her dirty dining segment is, speaking of dirty, I'll have to ask her, what does she think about a naked security guard showing up at Disney? Darcy Spears from ABC 13 joining us on the line. Darcy, how are you?
What's up, Darcy?
Morning.
I'm still laughing at the whole concept of going up naked to Disneyland, especially an employee. So that's a whole other kind of dirty.
Yes, that is true. That is true, Darcy.
There are categories of dirty.
Well, Darcy, we always love having you on talking about some of these restaurants, these fine establishments that seem to break health hazard rules. And you did a great job talking about this place called Curry Leaf Flavors of India. It is located on Fort Apache and Tropicana. What did you find out for us about that?
Well, Curry Leaf is, as of last night, officially a repeat offender. They were first on pretty much right after they opened in 2016.
Oh, that's
and
not
some
good.
people kind of can call that opening jitters, opening glitches.
Yeah.
But then a few years later, when you're back again for a massive cockroach infestation, you have to question whether, in fact, it was something that you could just dismiss as an opening issue. So this time, cockroach infestation of the highest order. It was like reading a book, reading the health inspection that described everywhere the cockroaches were. And it was more like, where were they not? They were coming through the ceiling tiles. They were on and behind the magnetic knife strip. They were on walls over prep surfaces, on shelves with food containers, around the hand sink in the warewashing area, under tables, and crawling on kitchen floors.
Oh, my God.
Did I miss anything?
Gosh, it sounds like our producer Jason Stein's apartment. That sounds terrible. Oh my gosh. All right. So what has been done here? I mean, are they closed down? What is the end result here?
Well, they were. They did get shut down for an imminent health hazard. They claim that they were able to eradicate and clean everything up by the next day, but they were not able to get the health inspector to come back and re-inspect to enable them to open up over the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. So they were closed from, I believe, what was the first day? They were shut down November 26th, and they weren't able to open back up until December 3rd. But they did get a zero demerit A grade back when they got that re-inspection, and they claim that the cockroach infestation was kind of the landlord's problem because they say it was plaguing the entire plaza.
Let me ask you a question. If they're reopened and they claim everything is cleaned up, if a coworker at ABC 13 said, "Hey, Darcy, lunch is on me. I want to take you to this place," is there any chance in hell that you would go?
As a personal policy, and again, this is just my personal policy, I typically don't eat at restaurants that have been on dirty dining, but I can't say my track record is 100% on that, because sometimes places that I love are on, and then I wait a really long time and then go back again.
I don't think that's a ridiculous policy or opinion, and I would say the last thing I want to do is chew into something and all of a sudden I find out that I'm eating a cockroach. So I think, I think that's very fair.
Unless it's covered in chocolate.
Yeah, well, then maybe I would consider it. Yes. All right,
Okay,
Darcy.
you do you.
Yeah. Let's talk about this place called Poke Poku on Rainbow and Warm Springs. I believe I've been to this place before. 24 demerit C grade on November 25th. What happened?
Yeah, so it's pokey actually for the the raw fish. You can call it poke if you want, but you'd be wrong. So
let's poke fun at pokey. Go ahead.
Okay, so Pokey Poku, also a repeat offender. Not this particular location, but another one of their locations was on. So the restaurant name is a repeat offender on Dirty Dining. When I spoke to the owner there, he was pretty miffed at the health district. He pretty much said that he thought that they absolutely did not deserve that many demerits. He said the health district is too picky, and he thinks that they are excessively picky because they're looking for stuff to write up in order to get enough demerits to get to that C downgrade, which comes with a $477 fee, fine, reinspection fee, whatever you call it. So he's not the first restaurant owner who's told me that, but I think it's an interesting perspective because a lot of them out there do believe that. Now, that doesn't stand in the way of the fact that inspectors did, in fact, find violations like a food handler slicing ready-to-eat produce with bare hands, a cutting board that wasn't being sanitized. There are violations that got written up there. It's just that the owner didn't feel like it was that bad.
So what is the end result now with them? Have they cleaned it up?
The end result there is they, too, are back to a zero demerit A grade, and they actually got their A grade back the very next day.
Wow.
That was a November 25th
So they took it seriously.
And a November 26th reopening.
So it sounds to me like they did their due diligence, which is good.
Yeah. And every restaurant wants to do that. Nobody wants to keep that C grade, although often I'm amazed. I'll go back a couple weeks after, they got the downgrade and C's still there. Like, I would want to get rid of that. Toot sweet.
Yeah, you would think so. Well, I tell you what, all that talk about cockroaches is making me hungry, Darcy. So I want people. You do such a phenomenal job. You do a lot of people a lot of good in Las Vegas, no doubt about that. I want you to give that information out. Besides coming on our show every week, how can people see these actual segments? See the video of it of you. It's fascinating to me. It's like reality television. You walk into these restaurants, and it's like the worst nightmare of a manager of a restaurant when you see Darcy Spears walk in, right? But where can we find you? What time is this airing? Give out that information to our listeners.
Yep. And to what you said, I think it's kind of funny because there's, you never can quite tell how people are going to react.
Right.
Like when we walked into Curry Leaf last night, the person in charge came out and I'm holding the health inspection and I tell her what we're there to talk about. And, she says, "Oh, it wasn't cockroaches. We had a water leak in the kitchen." and I'm holding the health inspection where the box is checked for gross unsanitary occurrence or condition, including pest infestation. And I'm like, okay, so it was, and here's the health report. And then the response is, I can't talk about this.
It sounds like somebody in the Trump administration. I'm sorry. That was a horrible joke. I'm sorry.
I'm not allowed to comment on that, but that was funny.
It's probably a good thing.
But anyway, so if you missed the debut of Dirty Dining every week, it is on Wednesday night at 11 on 13 Action News. If you miss it at 11, you can catch it again every Thursday in our 6:30 p.m. half-hour newscast. It's the second half of our 6 p.m. hour. I also have the video currently posted right now on both my Facebook and my Twitter feed. So find me on Facebook, Darcy Spears, DSPINV13 on Twitter. You can always catch it in any way, shape, or form. And it's there for your comments, concerns, questions, criticisms, and, oh my gosh, thank you for saving me, Darcy, stuff.
Darcy, you do a phenomenal job. We always appreciate it when you come on every week. Keep up the good work, Darcy, and we look forward to catching up with you next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Don't snack on too many roaches.
I'll try not to.
Thanks a lot, Darcy.
Thanks, Darcy. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm gonna. Okay, I need to take a break because I need to take a bite out of my cockroach chocolate snack that JD sent me today this morning. But when we come back, oh my God, is this a wild story? A Disney security guard. You want to talk about the biggest nightmare for Disney? They have a security guard that shows up buck naked. We're going to explain exactly what that means, and the police chief actually held a press conference. The audio is classic.
Like those cookies,
it is unbelievable. We're going to take a quick break.
Good. Awesome.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to the Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
So what would you do with an extra $500 a month in your budget? $500. This isn't hypothetical, by the way. This is something you may need to think about very soon if you decide to become a member of MediShare. MediShare is a way to pay for your health care, and typically it costs $500 less per month for a family versus other health care plans. So seriously, think about this. You could pay off loans, pay down a mortgage, save the money for retirement, donate to charity. That would be a big deal. But you know what? Here's the best thing. MediShare works. It's a Christian healthcare sharing ministry with 400,000 members. They've shared over $2 billion in medical bills, so they can help share your needs too. And with MediShare, not only do you save, you don't have to pay for things you don't believe in. And that's a beautiful thing too. So here's how you can find out more, and you might actually wind up saving even more than $500 a month. So check into it. 844-47-BIBLE. That's 844-47-BIBLE. 844-47-BIBLE.
101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON, the talk of Las Vegas.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us on a Thursday. By the way, coming up in hour number 3. Been wanting to interview this guy for a long time. What a talent. Terry Fator will be joining us. Little controversy with a Donald Trump puppet in his act. We'll get to that coming up. Also, Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports will be joining us. But this is a story that we had to talk about because it's classic. And I really feel bad for this guy. A 56-year-old Disney security guard was, quote, buck naked when he showed up to a house in Polk County to purchase sex from an undercover deputy. The guy walked up to the front door of this home in a neighborhood on a cool evening, buck naked, according to the police chief there. Video and audio of this. So I want to play a little bit of this interaction between this security guard and an undercover prostitute. Here it is.
Come inside and get warm.
Oh, I'm warm. You're the only one home? Nice.
So since you're already naked, let's get started. Do you have the money?
I do. There's nobody gonna run out of the corner like a cop or anything like that?
No.
Okay. I gotta take the extra 10 out because you wouldn't show me you were naked.
10? Wow, that's cheap.
Just
cheap,
anal sex,
cheap
right?
prostitute.
And blowjob?
Yep.
Okay.
No, I'm waiting for cops.
All right. Money's good. You want to sit down? I'll get us a drink.
All right. Well, let me explain to you what we're listening to here. So this guy is completely naked walking into this home. First of all, if you're going to pay for a prostitute, Why would you show up to the door naked, first of all? Can't you just wait and take your clothes off when you get to the room? That's number one. Number two, we're talking about an extra $10. You want to talk about a cheap prostitute? I would say that would raise a red flag. I've been pretty open and honest about this. I think prostitution should be legal everywhere. I do believe there should be zoning involved, kind of like what they do with the marijuana dispensaries. I don't think you should have a dispensary everywhere on every street corner next to a school. But I do think prostitution should be legal because I think it would benefit the women and the men in these situations. So he shows up naked. Now, his life is completely ruined. Let me explain why. Do I think this guy is a violent criminal? No. Do I think he deserves to go to jail? No. But obviously he's done at Disney. So the police chief decided to hold a press conference with a big picture of his face at this press conference, talking about the details. So here is the county sheriff explaining the charges against this gentleman.
Rodney Davis, 56, from Winter Garden. He's a Disney security guard. He's married, been married 27 years. We charged him with soliciting. He brought him a Viagra pill. But he didn't have a prescription for it, so that's another criminal charge.
Oh.
Have Viagra will travel?
Was it from Russia?
Okay, here's what you're not going to believe. Maybe you're not going to believe any of it. It's hard to believe any of this. I mean, people who live in what I call the normal world, this guy walked up to the front door of this home in a neighborhood on a cool evening, buck naked. Now, if you don't know the difference in naked and buck naked means you're not even wearing your socks. He didn't have a stitch of clothes on, but he was carrying a shirt, I guess, in case of an emergency. He walked into the house. He was proud of himself. That's up for debate. But the detectives promptly took him into custody and gave him some breeches to put on.
Okay, first of all, let me just, as a reporter, this is one of the strangest press conferences I've ever seen in my life. Just going after this guy's character. Obviously, he's got some problems when you show up naked. By the way, if you want to see the video of this, it's on our Twitter page. You got to see it. It's awesome. The Vegas Take Twitter page. Here's the issue I have with this. This guy obviously made a big mistake. Obviously, he broke the law. There's no denying that. Him showing up naked just makes it really strange. It kind of reminds me, there was an episode of To Catch a Predator where a guy shows up naked to an underage person. I'm like, what are you doing? Isn't it bad enough that you're breaking the law?
Right.
That's a more serious crime, in my personal opinion, than, trying to get a prostitute. Obviously, the guy wants sex. He wanted to pay for it. It was against the law there. He wasn't in Pahrump. But why would you show up naked? That's strange. What's even worse is that the guy's been married 26 years. What does his wife think of all this? This guy's done. Like, his career is over. I actually feel bad for this guy because, like I said, he's not a violent criminal. But my question is, why are you showing up naked to this prostitute's house? You couldn't wait. He was so excited that he couldn't wait a couple minutes to take his clothes off.
I wonder if she sent him a picture like beforehand. Maybe she was like that hot.
I don't understand. But even if
he
took
the
she
Viagra,
is,
he wanted to hurry up and make sure that he performed at optimum level.
Did he have an erection?
You're asking me? I didn't. How the hell am I supposed to know?
Well,
I
said he had the Viagra.
I wasn't looking at his PP.
So he brought a pill.
Yeah.
So
he shows up completely naked to this $10 prostitute's home.
I don't know.
I know it was an extra.
I think that was an extra
for what? For what?
For oral sex.
They doing anything for $40 now.
Yeah.
And so when she asked,
how do you know that, Campaign?
I'm just letting you know, man.
Well,
I heard through the grapevine, $40 get you a good time. You know what I'm saying?
When she asked him about the oral sex, that was actually where he got himself in trouble because once you confirm that you are compensating the prostitute for that specific act, you're actually soliciting.
Well, you know a lot about this, JD. Do you have experience in this field?
I do not have experience.
Let me tell you something. That dude, this is not the first time that dude did this. Understand that he just didn't wake up that day, and his wife and all that other stuff. He has done this before. Maybe not.
Let me ask you guys. Let me ask you guys a question though, because I think what the police chief did was inappropriate.
Yeah, the police chief painted this guy as if he was some type of murderer.
Let me ask you guys this question. We know that he broke the law. I think what makes this even worse, for him at least, is that he shows up naked. I mean, what if there's a kid or, there's a young family, we understand it was completely inappropriate. I don't think he wanted that to happen. I don't understand. I would ask him, why the hell did you show up naked? That's wrong. He committed a crime. We don't want people walking around naked. I get that. But at the same time, there's a lot of violent criminals out there. There's a lot of bad people in the world. I don't think this guy's a bad guy. I think he's got probably some mental problems and he's got some issues. You hold a press conference and,
like anyone else, he wants to have sex, which is a pretty.
Not everybody wants to have sex.
A pretty. We'll say 90.
You want a meaningful relationship.
We'll say 98 to 99% of the country, or if human beings are interested in having.
I know
sexual
people that are
relations.
associated with this show that don't want to have sex. So it's not the case with everybody.
Some people who want to, like it almost. I'm not gonna
Anyway, but going back to what I was saying, I thought it was inappropriate what this police chief did. He holds his press conference. There's members of the media that are laughing at this poor guy's expense. Yes, he broke the law. Yes, he committed a crime. To talk about his marriage, to me, is so beyond inappropriate. I mean, we've talked about, there's been press conferences before with rapists that have been married. They don't talk about his marriage life and all that stuff. Why are you talking about this guy's marriage and personal life? Completely inappropriate. As far they're making a mockery of this, and I think it's wrong. I'm not defending this guy's actions, although I do believe that if you solicit a prostitute, yes, while it's against the law, if you're not a violent criminal, I don't think we need to hold a press conference.
I think part of it is because they're trying, because he's sort of a part of law enforcement, even though he's a security guard. He's not a police officer. He's not a cop, and I think that they're trying
Disney law enforcement.
Disney owns a lot of things. Campaign.
Yes, they do.
I mean, they're a $200 billion company right now. But I think that they're trying to make an example of this guy because he is making making those in law enforcement look bad.
I'll pose this
question. I think that has a lot to do with why, or either that, or this bet naked. This police chief has some type of personal relationship with this guy in a negative capacity that we don't know about.
Let me ask.
It doesn't make any sense to take this guy's picture and put it up like he's a fugitive. Like the way that they did, and that's what they did.
Well, I'm sure there were other people too,
totally
along with that sting that they probably could have did too. But
let me ask.
But even when you do that, you have a sting, and you've got like 50 or 60.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're called Johns, but you have a little tiny thumbnail. You don't have one of their pictures just blown up. You don't have that. That doesn't happen very often.
That's what Johns?
Let me ask this question to our listeners, and we'll open up the phone lines. And I guess it's kind of a two-part question here. Number one, what this guy did, showing up naked and soliciting a prostitute, do you think the police chief acted appropriately in kind of making a mockery of this guy? So that's my first question. And then my second question is, do you think that it is fair, and are you okay with police officers holding these types of sting operations for men that are trying to pay prostitutes for sex? Are you okay with that? I'm actually not okay with it. I think there are better things, because there are better things that I think police officers can do with their time than to try to get several females and get a prostitution sting and try to lure men into paying them for sex and then arresting them. I think our tax dollars get to be spent more wisely than that. So let me open up the phone lines. What do you think about that? We're talking about this guy, this Disney security guard who showed up to this prostitution sting buck naked. And then the police chief is kind of making a mockery of this guy. 257-5396 is the number to call. Again, that number, if you want to be a part of the program, 702-257-5396. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I believe our tax dollars could be spent more wisely than setting up some sort of prostitution sting where you get some women that try to lure men in for sex. And then, I don't know. I just think there are better things that we can do as police officers with our time than these types of stings. That's just my personal opinion.
I think they use it as a deterrent. Like it's supposed to be like when you do that, and then it's supposed to deter someone from thinking about doing it the next time. Like I don't want my picture being posted or whatever. I think that's what it's for. But can they be doing something better with their time? Probably. But does it? Maybe that one arrest leads to something else.
Just to give you a little bit of background,
the majority of these things they're predicated on stopping child trafficking, because a lot of these prostitutes are children or underage 16 to 18-year-old girls from different countries that are forced into the sex slavery life, and they're trying to find those traffickers, and that's usually where most of these things are predicated from. But they do cost taxpayers a lot of money, and in a situation like this where there is no child trafficking involved, where it's just a police officer and a 57-year-old man who's been married for 27 years who happens to be a security guard, I think they went way over the top.
Just to give you a little bit of background on this, a total of 124 people were arrested, 5 of which had the intent to sexually harm a child. Now, make no mistake about it, those people so you can make the argument it was worth it to get those people off the street.
But they should be made an example of much more than this guy should.
Yes. Absolutely. This guy wasn't trying.
And that's the issue.
I don't want to defend what he did, but this guy wasn't trying to harm a child. If you really want to hold a press conference and go after somebody, go after the ones that are trying to go after children. Not a guy. Yeah, he showed up naked. It was a horrible decision.
When you go to Pahrump and you go to what's it called, the Cat House, or what's it, the Bunny Ranch?
There's a bunch of them.
You go there because you want relatively effort-free, no strings attached, sexual enrichment. That's what you're going there for, and that's exactly what this guy wanted too.
That was a pleasant way of saying it.
But that's what it is. And is that illegal? You don't want to court someone for 2 or 3 weeks. You want to just
2 or 3 weeks
or whatever the process is. You don't want to go on a bunch of
whining
dates.
and dining for 2 or 3 weeks. Look at that, JD the gentleman.
You don't want to put the effort in. No, you just want that. That's what this is all about.
Campaigns like one night.
You want to go to the Bunny Ranch. You want to spend X amount of dollars, and you know what you want in return for. That's exactly what this guy wanted too.
It's also when you go up to the bunny ranches and things like that. So from what I've heard, they'll do a little something strange for some change. Like sometimes people have fetishes that you just can't ask your wife to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? She's not going to do the things like Sally up there in Pahrump Pahrump gonna get down and get with it.
Right, and I understand because she's more experienced. And it's great that they found those five gentlemen who wanted to get involved.
And they
should have
put them on. They should have put them on the news.
And that's the whole point.
Yeah.
So just to give you a little more details,
that should be made an example of.
53 people were arrested for prostitution. It's a second-degree misdemeanor. It's not a felony. And 46 were arrested for seeking the services of a prostitute. That's also a first-degree misdemeanor. So we're not talking about felonies here, but for those that are going after children, like for example, that show To Catch a Predator. Yes, it was very entertaining and funny, but at the same time sad. All those people, all of them that were arrested, I have no problem with that sting and what they were doing, because if you're going after a child, that is far worse.
Yeah, off the
far
top.
worse than soliciting a prostitute that is over the age of 18.
Especially if you're pretending to be a woman or a guy of similar age, and you're representing, you're basically
anything dealing with kids.
You're falsely advertising yourself to trick a child into thinking that you are what you are, so you can take advantage of them. Obviously, that's a heinous crime. But so is this. So is trying to trying to have sexual relations with a child through a trafficking service.
Can I ask? Let me ask Campaign this. So there was a price. I don't know if it was $100 or $200, but then they're talking about an extra $10. What could they have possibly negotiated for an extra $10? That's what I'm trying to understand.
And and I'm gonna say, how's the best way I could say this? Maybe they wanted, maybe they want their. Some guys like having fetishes where they want to
so it's a weird fetish.
Yeah, it's a weird fetish. He might have just wanted this. Maybe can I say this? Maybe he wanted his anus licked?
I don't know if you can say that, but maybe. I don't know if you can say that, but obviously I'm just curious what.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Hey,
$10
extra.
You know what?
That's like a Big Mac and fries.
It's very possible that his wife of 27 years didn't want to give him oral sex.
Right. It's simple like that. Listen, ladies, if you ain't going to do it, somebody will.
Right.
Here's what
he's not getting satisfaction at home, and he's pursuing it elsewhere, and that's what happens a lot of the time with prostitution.
Here's what I just found out. I just got a little bit of information here from our producer. I don't know how I could say this on the air, but this is what he was trying to get. Besides oral sex, he was trying to go into another orifice, and I'm not going to say what that is, but that's what he was trying to attempt to gain. And to gain access to, so to speak,
like the eighth planet.
Yes, you could the Hershey Highway.
I think it's also possible that maybe his wife isn't in the best physical shape, and this particular woman was, and he isn't in great physical shape himself, and they can't really get to specific positions because of the way that he's built and she's built.
I like
that's very possible too.
All right, well, my condolences to this security guard. I hope he does get another job somewhere. Hopefully he doesn't show up naked anywhere. When we come back, this is a guy I've been wanting to interview for a long time. Very talented, one of the best ventriloquists in the business. Man, is he good. Terry Fator will be joining us next on the show. There's a controversy with one of his Donald Trump puppets. We'll explain why. Coming up next, Terry Fator. This is the Vegas Take.
The only FM news talk station in the Valley. 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Hate-inspired terrorism. Impeachment debate. I'm Mike Moss. Hatred of Jewish people and law enforcement. New Jersey Attorney General Gurbir Graywall says that's what's suspected of the two gunmen who killed an officer and 3 civilians before being killed themselves in a shootout at a Jewish market in Jersey City.
We continue to gather evidence regarding the motives of the shooters. We have identified a number of social media accounts that we believe were used by the suspects and purport to espouse certain viewpoints.
Stiff debate in the House Judiciary Committee over the articles of impeachment against the president. Republican Matt Gaetz.
They have taken a look at the candidates that they have in the Democratic field, and they've realized that they have to create this impeachment platform because their candidates are incapable of defeating President Trump in a fair fight.
Democrat Pramila Jayapal.
Forget about President Trump. Is any one of my colleagues willing to say that it is ever okay for a president of the United States of America to invite foreign interference in our elections? Not a single one of you has said that so far.
The United States has a new ambassador to Russia after the Senate voted to confirm the number 2 official at the State Department to the post. Deputy Secretary of State John Sullivan was confirmed on a 70-22 vote. The United States has offered to cut existing tariffs on Chinese goods by as much as 50%, and has suspended new tariffs expected to go into effect Sunday in an attempt to secure a Phase 1 trade deal. U.S. negotiators have offered to reduce tariffs on about $375 billion in Chinese goods by 50% across the board and suspend on tariffs on $160 billion in goods that is scheduled for December 15th. On Wall Street, the Dow up 132. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report sponsored by Inspirata, slowing for the crash I-15 northbound Craig Road off-ramp, and an accident reported now Desert Inn Road east of Jones. Injury sustained, police and fire were the scene. Injury accident in North Las Vegas on Lake Mead Boulevard eastbound under I-15, and a crash, Warm Springs east of Durango, again with injuries sustained. Watch for slowing. Join Inspirata on Saturday, December 14th for their Holiday Village event. Bring the whole family and enjoy train rides, caricatures, cooking demos, and much more. Learn more at inspirata.com/holidayvillage. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
It's open enrollment season, and Medishare is the Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google Medishare and see if it's a fit for you. Medishare, healthcare you can believe in.
This is Harry Jacobs from Credit Restoration of Nevada, inviting you to join me for the Credit Show, Saturday mornings between 9 and 10, here on the new 101.5 FM and 720 AM.
If you're one of the millions of Americans who owes back taxes, if you get nervous when the mail comes because you might get a letter from the IRS, then you've heard. Their enforcement agents are cracking down this year and can garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts. Even your home or business could be at risk over unpaid taxes. It's all true, but it's also true there's a way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative, an important government program for tax debt assistance. The award-winning experts at Optima Tax Relief will fight to get you the best deal possible, protecting your paycheck and your assets from IRS collections. But don't delay, because the IRS is tacking on interest and hefty penalties every single day. So don't wait until it's too late. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I'm Jack Weinstein of the Tower Jewels. For over 50 years, the Tower Jewels has provided Las Vegas with outstanding customer service and top quality jewelry. So come see us at the Tower Jewels today.
Visit Tower Jewels today for store-wide savings on rubies, diamonds, sapphires, and more, all up to 70% off at Tower Jewels. This holiday season, see our master designers and have that something special made for your someone special.
Up to 36 months, 0 down, no interest financing available.
Tower of Jewels, Santa Claus's manufacturing jeweler.
Tina Trenner is back, and she's on 720 AM, 101.5 FM, KDWN, every Sunday at 12 p.m. She's sick of the nonsense and has something to say every Sunday at 12 p.m.
Rich is just a really, really good guy. The term good egg isn't enough to describe him. He's also certified organic and free range. Rich puts the cap back on everything. The toothpaste, the olive oil, the shampoo, everything. He lets his 10-year-old nephew beat him at virtual tennis, even though he can straight up slay his 10-year-old nephew in virtual tennis. When the toilet paper is running low, Rich replaces the roll on the actual holder, not just on the back of the toilet. Rich is texting and driving. Rich, no. What are you doing, Rich? I was just telling everyone how great you are. Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
720 on the AM, 1015 FM.
Yeah,
Now on FM, the only FM news talk station in Las Vegas. KDON. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro rolling out hour number 3. By the way, coming up at the bottom of the hour, Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports, the latest on sports pop culture. But, I always love talking to local performers, and we had some of them in studio yesterday. And the guy we have on with us right now, he is one of the best ventriloquists in the world. I'm a big fan of his show, which has been at the Mirage for a while now. Stand-up comic, what an impressionist this guy is, and his show, A Very Terry Christmas 2, the sequel runs through December. The great one himself, Terry Fator, joining us on the line. Terry, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Oh, wonderful. Thanks for taking time to talk to me about this. It's wonderful.
Absolutely. So we've talked about, by the way, you do a fantastic show, and we're going to talk a little bit about the show that runs through December. I want to start with Donald Trump, if that's okay, because we talked about this on the show a few weeks ago. So you do an amazing Donald Trump impersonation, and you have this Donald Trump puppet that you added into your show. And then all of a sudden it's taken away from your show, and we hear two different stories about, well, did somebody at the property tell you that it was too political to take it down? So clear the air for us. What exactly happened here?
Yes, no, no one from the Mirage told me to take the puppet show, or even asked me to take the Donald Trump puppet out. I have a team at the Mirage that works, that has an office. I have the Terry Fator offices at the Mirage. And my team came to me and said, you had said early on you didn't want to do politics, and it's starting to feel a little political. And what had happened was, when I created the Donald Trump puppet, it was before he had just announced that he was going to run. I mean, I had the guy in a month after he announced he was going to run. I had no idea he was going to win for the presidency. And then when he became president, it was like we had a bunch of jokes written about what he was going to do after he didn't win the presidency. And so once he won, then we just started putting jokes in about that. And it had gotten to a point where when I brought the puppet on stage, obviously the Trump supporters went crazy. And I myself am a Trump supporter, so I was never mean, which is why I think the Trump supporters loved it, was that I was not mean with the bit. And I could see people immediately stiffen up and get almost angry about it. And so I was like, when my team that works at the Mirage, they don't work for the Mirage, they work for me. And when they asked me, they said, what do you think? You think it's time? And I said, yeah, it is time. I've been kind of noticing it too. And I don't want to be political at all. I don't want to take a side. I will never use my show to push one political opinion.
Sure. And I don't think anybody's ever accused you of that. But isn't it sad? Because here you are, you're an extremely talented guy. You're very funny. And me personally, I don't care whether it's Barack Obama or Donald Trump. The bottom line is you're funny. It's about entertaining people. As a comedian, isn't it sad to an extent that people take things so personal that it has to get to this point? Because I got to be honest with you. If I show up to see Terry Fator, I want to see the Trump guy, and I'm not a Trump supporter, but I want to see it because you're so good at what you do.
Well, thank you. And that was kind of the point was. And I think actually the majority of people are just like you and I, which, I tend to lean more. I'm more in a centrist, but I lean right from center. I'm not a far right person by any means. I have friends who are lean left. Most far left people won't be friends with me because I'm not a far leftist. It's weird how that they just don't want anything to do with anyone who's not 100% on board with their
that's ridiculous
political opinion.
Yeah, that's
insane.
insane.
Ridiculous. And so I just got to, it really had gotten so incendiary that I was like, and don't get me wrong, I'm still going to be doing stuff online. And then once his presidency is over, hopefully in 5 years, just a little just to let you know I am a supporter of his, then I'll bring him back and then we can have fun with it again, because I really don't think just the very sight of it is going to enrage people when he's no longer president. But it's kind of the same way, though, with the far right people. Obama enraged them, and I was never one of those. I was like, guys, come on. He's only got 8 years tops. That's it. So there's no reason for you to get all upset over the fact that this guy is president, because in 8 years, in 4 to 8 years, it's all going to be over for him, and somebody else is going to be president.
True.
And that's how I look at it. I just look at politics are so temporary. And my job is to make people laugh.
Of course.
Have fun. And I'm still going to be doing, I actually got a Bernie Sanders puppet.
Oh, I love it.
I'm going to be doing Bernie and Donald are going to have their own vaudeville type show, and they're going to be like Statler and Waldorf from the Muppets.
I hate to do this, and if this is unfair, you can let me know, because we're on the radio and you're on a phone and it probably won't sound as good as if it's in person. But can you give me like a 10-second sample if Bernie Sanders had a conversation with Donald Trump? And if it's too much for you, if you can't do it, I totally understand, but you are so good at what you do. Like a 10 or 20 second Bernie Sanders Donald Trump conversation. If that's
So it would be something like where Donald Trump would be on one side and Bernie would be on the other, and Donald Trump would say, "Anything you can make, I can make better. Anything you can make, I'll make it better than you." And then Bernie Sanders would say, "Anything you can make, I can take more. Anything you can," something like that, where he's going to be taking what Donald's making. Exactly, and that's really what it is. It's just funny. It's going to be funny stuff where we kind of have fun with this character.
I love it. That's genius, Terry. Thank you for doing that. By the way, I got to ask you, when you were a kid growing up, take me back to when you're in high school. Like, were you like the class clown? Did you impersonate people, and was it always a joy for you to make people laugh? What were you like when you were a kid?
Oh, I was voted class clown every single year of my schooling. I mean, I was that kid that was a cut up. I did get sent to the principal's office. Usually, though, interestingly, I tended to be teachers' pet, mostly because I was so funny, but I was also respectful. I was never disrespectful. So I would make people laugh, and occasionally I would there was one lady that absolutely hated me. I'll never forget her. Miss Hallmark hated me because I don't know what it was, but I just really I was a burr under her saddle. And she sent me to the principal's office all the time because I would be cracking jokes and oh man, she was not a nice
I love
person.
it.
She did not like me, but that was the only teacher. Every other one really liked me because I was very funny. And the funny thing is I got bullied, but I learned early on that humor can really defuse a situation. When you take something personally, it can escalate the situation. It's going to make a bully but if you can make a bully laugh, you've suddenly got them on your side. And so I found self-deprecating humor would always work really well in situations like that.
That's a good point. If you're just joining us, by the way, we're speaking with Terry Fator. A very Terry Christmas 2, the sequel, running through December. I've seen his show several times. He's incredible. Definitely check it out. Okay, Terry, so now let's move to your career when you get an opportunity to be on America's Got Talent, right? Season 2. I would imagine before that, before you had that opportunity, you were playing in smaller venues, I would assume, and you weren't obviously the household name that you are today. So you get that opportunity. Take me through that a little bit. You get that, and that's your big shot, right? That's your big shot to make it. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was interesting because I was 42 years old, and I had been doing this professionally since I was 20, and I started when I was 10. So I'd been doing it forever, and I got to tell you, I had so many things that in my head was the pinnacle, and man, this is it. I'm finally going to make it. I'm finally going to get the attention that I feel like that I've worked hard for, and had it come crashing down and gone down in a blaze of glory every single time. So I get on America's Got Talent. My attitude is, look, I'm not going to set myself up for another fall. I'm going to have a lot of fun with this, and at the very least, I can take my performances, because I assumed I was going to, just like most of the other people. I mean, millions of people try out for this show. So what are my odds, really?
Right.
So I'm going, you know what? Somebody else is probably going to win it. But it's okay, because I'll get on. I'll get some national exposure. I'll be able to take the best of my performances, put it into a nice little promo video, and then I can raise my price at elementary schools,
Yeah.
And that really was my goal. I had no intention of winning. I didn't know. Now I was prepared.
You sound like Donald
The main
Trump.
thing-
Terry, you sound like Donald Trump. I don't think he had intentions of winning either. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't think he did either. No one was more surprised when he won than me,
Sure.
and I think probably him too.
Right. You guys have something in common.
We certainly do.
Yeah. So, okay.
And
So go ahead. Yep.
Suddenly, I win the show, and then kaboom! Instantaneously, I'm not playing elementary schools anymore. I'm suddenly a headliner in Vegas within a month. I think it was maybe it was 2 months.
Your life
I think
changes.
I won on. It was it changed completely, and I started contacting the Hilton, or I guess they reached out to me, and I booked that 2 months before. It was about a month before I even won the show. It was incredible.
Wow. Okay.
And
That's
then the Mirage
unbelievable.
came out to see me at the Hilton and decided to sign me to a multi-year deal.
So your life completely changes after winning season 2 of America's Got Talent. And how did you handle your celebrityness? For example, I would imagine a lot of people start recognizing you in public. How do you handle something like that?
You know, it's weird. I do get recognized, but my fans are incredibly respectful. I'm not sure why they're different. I don't get hounded a lot, but people do. They're very respectful of me and of my privacy. I usually will hear somebody whispering, or my wife will hear something. And, of course, as happens with many celebrities, my first marriage fell apart, and it really had nothing to do with fame. I honestly, we had all kinds of problems. I thought that getting rich and famous was going to fix the problems, and it only made them worse. So I get it now. When somebody makes it famous and divorces their, wife or husband, I'm like, hey, you have no idea what's going on. I honestly thought that getting rich and famous was going to make everything great, and that, my wife and I were going to get along, and it was 100 times worse after. And so it was like, look, it usually exacerbates the problems you already have. So I'm like, I should have divorced her before America's Got Talent, and I wouldn't have had to pay her so much.
Take me back though to when that's very funny. Take me back to you're right before America's Got Talent. If somebody went up to you and said, "Hey Terry, in just a few years, you're going to get a 5-year, $100 million contract with the Mirage," would you have believed it?
Of course not. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like, and what happens is, at least for me, I thought I was going to be aware that I was famous all the time, but oddly, I'm not. Oddly, I completely forget that I'm famous, and it's very strange until somebody says my name. I'm like, oh, that's right. A lot of times somebody will say, oh my gosh, Terry, and I'll think, do I know this person? And then I'll realize, oh no, wait, that's right. They probably saw me on TV, or they saw my billboards or something. And so it's very strange. It's very jarring for me, but I never, and I keep myself so busy working and writing and creating puppets and creating characters and creating more stuff. And the reason I do that is because I just want to make sure to keep the show fresh for myself and for my fans. People have seen me like 17 times and have never seen the same exact show, and I'm very proud of that. So I'm so busy working. I think I'll look back on my career one day and go, wow, that was fun. But right now, I'm working so hard that I don't really have time to sit there and go, wow, this is amazing. I'm enjoying it. Don't get me wrong. Because creating and performing is the joy of my life.
Of course.
I'd rather be doing that than anything.
Of course, you have to be obsessed and be a hard worker to have the success that you have. Actually, on a side note, and by the way, if you're just joining us, we're speaking with Terry Fator. You and I were at the same show. This had to be about a couple of years ago. I believe it was Don Rickles, the late, great Don Rickles. This was at the Orleans. And you and I were at the same show, and in the middle of the show, and I'm just some idiot radio guy who does a show. You're obviously a little more popular than me. But Don Rickles, in the middle of his show, he says your name and he thanks you for being there. And then he said my name as well. And that's a moment for me personally that I will never forget. And the reason why I ask you that question is because I would imagine you've had a lot of celebrities and you've met a lot of famous people like yourself that have gone to your show that are fans of yours. Can you give us a story or somebody famous? Because for me, that Don Rickles thing was pretty cool for me, as I'm sure it was cool for you as well.
It still bowls me over. For example, Cindy Williams, who was in Laverne and Shirley.
Right.
I went to see her. I was doing a promo thing, and Cindy Williams, I see her there, and I'm going, oh my gosh, it's Shirley from Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah.
And she comes up to me and she says, I have to tell you, Terry, me and Michael McKean, and named off a couple of other people from Happy Days, and Laverne and Shirley. And she says, we watched you every week and just loved you. And I'm like, whoa. And I think, though, the coolest thing, because I've been a Republican my entire life. I was raised that way. And so kind of like, I've got friends who are Democrats, raised Democrats. And so I went to a fundraiser for the Republican Party. Nancy Reagan was there.
Oh, wow.
And I went up to her, and they gave me an opportunity to meet her. And I said, Mrs. Reagan, I just want you to know it's an honor to meet you. I voted for your husband twice. And she said, and I want you to know I voted for you. And what a surreal experience
That's so amazing. So obviously, there are many Republicans and Democrats that look at Ronald Reagan and, of course, his wife and just nothing but class, right? But I just, that's amazing, that story you just said, where you have somebody that you've looked up to your whole life and you voted for her husband, as you said, twice. I just can't even imagine. Like, what goes through your head when she says she voted for you on America's Got Talent? That's incredible.
There's really no way to express it. It just kind of blows your mind. I went to see Andy Williams in Branson before he passed.
Right.
And he was having dinner, and they escorted me over to his table when I went to dinner at the same place he was at. And he said, and his wife was sitting next to him, and he said, my wife and I laid in bed and watched you every single week and voted for you every single week. I mean, Andy freaking Williams,
legend, yeah.
I mean, an
legend.
icon.
Yeah.
And so, I've had this happen many, many times where it always boggles my mind when I think these people actually know who I am and watch. It's crazy.
That is incredible. That is incredible.
I never get used to it.
I love hearing those stories. Tell us a little bit about who makes your puppets. Who designs your puppets, because they're incredible.
Well, I get asked a lot what the best part of my success is. And I always say the best part of my success is that my creativity is no longer shackled by my lack of finances. And I have created so many different things. My brain works in a way that is different than most people. And I've created so many things that I had to put on the wayside and not do because I just could not afford to have it made. Now I get the best puppet makers in the world. A lot of my soft puppets, like Winston the Impersonating Turtle, Dougie Scott Walker the Stoner, Emma Taylor, the girl that sings It Last by Etta James, they were all made by the same people who make the Muppets. It's called Puppet Heap out of Hoboken. My wife tells me I always say it wrong. It's Hoboken, New Jersey. And so they make it. And then I have a guy named Chance Wolf that is just one of the best soft sculpture puppet makers. Hard figures where, you carve them out of wood and it's just incredible. Keith Lovick also makes my heart. Keith Lovick made my David Bowie and my Bing Crosby puppets.
So Terry, if I wanted a replica of the Donald Trump puppet that you use in your show by the same company, what would that cost me?
I don't think they're that expensive because he asked me after I hired him to make this one. And mine has a hair that flops up, and it's very, very funny. And, it's hilarious. It's really funny. But the guy, it's Steve Axtell, Axtell Expressions, and I believe it's AXTELL.com. And he called me and he goes, I'm getting a lot of people asking for a Donald Trump puppet. Do you mind if I make another one? And I said, you go right ahead and do that. You can buy a Donald Trump. In fact, he just put out a presidential series, and they have Donald Trump, Obama, George W. Bush,
That's awesome.
Bill Clinton, all made by the same guy. And he is amazing. He makes my Donald Trump puppet, and he makes my Vicky the Cougar puppet.
How long does this take for him to make one of these?
It just totally depends on what. If obviously when I get them, I have an original. It can take up to 2 to 3 months. I have a guy that can make me one in a month to 6 weeks. He's the one that makes my more realism puppets. He made my Willie Nelson, which it's uncanny to see the Willie Nelson puppet that he made.
So
and Stevie Wonder, and Frank Sinatra, they look like
awesome.
They're incredible.
That's so cool.
And they're all in my Christmas show, by the way, that you can see them.
Which runs till December 30th. Yeah. So if I had your abilities, which clearly I don't, I would mess with people all the time because you're barely moving your mouth as what a great ventriloquist would do. Do you ever mess with people where you'll say something but your mouth isn't moving and then you'll just mess with people?
Well, of course I do. I mean, I'm a ventriloquist. If you wouldn't much of a ventriloquist. One of my favorite things to do is I absolutely love to when I'm if there's nobody behind me in line at security at the airport at TSA, I will put my suitcase on there. And I just had a guy tell me that I freaked him out the last time when I went through. And it's just as the suitcase is about to go through the X-ray, I go, "Let me out of here! Someone, let me out!" And they go crazy. So I love to do that. Another thing I love to do is when I'm doing like a television show, like when I went to do Kathy Lee and Hoda. A couple of years ago, I got up and I was doing my sound check, and I was standing in front of the microphone, and I walked up to the mic, and as I'm standing there, I said, one, hello, would you turn off that echo? And they're like, "There's no echo," and I'm just like, I'm kidding. I'm and I love to do jokes like this. So I'm always playing jokes on people.
God, you could just do a reality show, just walking with Terry Fator, the day in the life of Terry Fator, just messing with people.
Telling you, one of the things I absolutely want to do, I want to put puppets in my car and drive in the HOV lane by myself and try to talk my way out of a ticket and have cameras in there. I just think that would be the funniest thing ever.
We need you to do that. We need a reality show. I'm telling you, Terry, it would be a smash hit. I want to plug your show again, and you've been very kind with your time. We're joined by Terry Fator, of course, a very Terry Christmas 2, the sequel. His show at the Mirage is running through December 30th. I've seen his show several times. It is fun for the whole family. It's clean, good, fun comedy. Terry, I cannot thank you enough for coming on, and thank you for clearing up that so-called Donald Trump controversy. We appreciate that.
You're very welcome. And he'll be back in the show once he's no longer president. I'm bringing him back, but you can see him on my socials. I've got Instagram, Twitter.
So will you see him in 2020 or 2024? That's the real question.
That's the question. Hopefully,
it's not a question at this point, Brian. He'll be back. We all know that. Hey, Terry, if we were to buy one of these dolls, would you sign it for us?
Of course.
All right, we got to do that.
Not only will I sign it, I'll come into the studio and I will actually do a routine and sign it. You can
wow.
If you do that,
Terry, I cannot wait for that. I might hold you to that. Thank you so much for your time, Terry. You're one of the best in the business. We really appreciate it, and we hope to have you on again soon. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
we
thanks
appreciate
a lot,
it.
Terry.
The great, the legend, the best ventriloquist on the planet, as far as I'm concerned, Terry Fator.
Well, I mean, if he's getting paid $100 million for 5 years,
he's pretty good.
He's got to be top 2.
He's pretty good. All right, so we're going to hold him to that, by the way. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take.
Cal Sanders again with Cal Air Cooling and Heating. Are you ready for the holidays? Are you ready for your invited guests, family, or unexpected company? Are you getting those floors and carpets cleaned? Have you thought about your air? I mean those grills and vents, the ductwork behind those vents. This is the time of year you're most susceptible to cold and flu. Many are seeing some of the benefits of better filtration in their cooling and heating system. But if you haven't cleaned the ductwork that delivers that air, you have only done half the job. Cleaning your ducts and vents have additional benefits. Would you like to reduce the time you spend dusting? Call today and get that system cleaned and let us analyze your ducting to make sure it is sealed so that the filtration that you do choose is keeping the air that you breathe clean and healthy. We at Cal Air have many great options with those with asthma and allergies, or you who are just annoyed with the dust. We are the healthy air experts. Check us out, Angie's List, Yelp, Google, State Contractors Board, Better Business Bureau, or our website, cal4air.com.
Cal Air, we'll be right there. 702-6234-AIR.
License number 18001A.
SportsX Radio Nation, what's up? It's Ken Thompson, host of SportsX Radio, reminding you to catch me at my new time, 8 to 10 p.m. for all the local Vegas sports coverage, plus the national scene as well. That's SportsX Radio on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
Hi, Doug Basham here. Join me Saturday afternoons from 2 to 4, and I'll tell you what your conservative, corporate-controlled, right-wing propaganda hate media isn't. You're welcome. That's Saturday afternoons, 2 to 4. Be there.
Hi, this is Harvey Blankfeld, host of Las Vegas Real Estate Now. Please tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. and listen to us deliver timely, balanced truths about our market right here in Southern Nevada. You know, there's nothing that I enjoy more than educating our listeners about real estate, except maybe a well-prepared Reuben sandwich where the corned beef is really lean. Sorry, I digress. But please do tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. and learn about real estate right here on the new 101.5 FM 720 AM KDON, the talk of Las Vegas.
There are lots of ways to be a kid. My way is to take a road that's not easy. So it's a good thing I'm an adventurer. That's why I'm going to be a Cub Scout, because scouting will guide me to really big things. So scout me in.
My name is Tim Mullen. I'm the Center Director for USO Las Vegas. We rely heavily on our volunteers. They're the heart and soul of our organizations, the one on the front lines greeting our service members and their guests, whether it's through our lounges at the airport or all the outreach events that we do on base. So we encourage anyone interested in getting involved to volunteer with the USO and support our local military community. Our service members and their families can use your help. You can get involved by going online to volunteers.uso.org or calling us at 702-261-6590.
1015 FM, 720 AM, KDON, the talk of Las Vegas.
The debate over articles of impeachment brought this charge about Hunter Biden from Republican Matt Gaetz.
He could not resolve his own dispute with Hertz rental car over leaving cocaine and a crack pipe in the car.
Which brought this response from Democrat Hank Johnson.
The pot calling the kettle black is not something that we should do. I don't know what members, if any, have had any problems with substance abuse, been busted in DUI. I don't know. But if I did, I wouldn't raise it against anyone on this committee. I don't think it's proper.
Gaetz was arrested in 2008 on a DUI charge while driving home from a Florida nightclub called The Swamp. New Jersey officials are calling the attack at a Jewish market this week an act of terrorism. The Dow up 237. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report sponsored by Inspirata. Slowing for the crash I-15 northbound Craig Road off-ramp. And an accident reported now, Desert Inn Road east of Jones. Injury sustained, police and fire were the scene. Injury accident in North Las Vegas on Lake Mead Boulevard eastbound under I-15. And a crash, Warm Springs east of Durango, again with injuries sustained. Watch for slowing. Join Inspirata on Saturday, December 14th for their Holiday Village event. Bring the whole family and enjoy train rides, caricatures, cooking demos, and much more. Learn more at inspirata.com/holidayvillage. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever. 99 cents plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pod sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
Hear that sound? After you've been hurt in a wreck, that's the sound of the value of your case going down. Every second you wait to get medical treatment and to get a lawyer can greatly affect the value of your case.
After you've been hurt in a wreck, stop the clock by calling Lerner & Rowe. We'll immediately get working on your case, getting you the medical treatment you need, and in most cases, with no out-of-pocket expenses, even if you don't have health insurance.
Lerner & Rowe is the way to go. Call 877-1500.
Scott Guido, managing attorney. Kevin Rowe is only licensed in Arizona, New Mexico, Oregon, Washington, and Illinois.
When you're diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer,
a lot of questions run through your mind.
What am I going to do? What are my options? What did I do wrong? We've had those thoughts too.
But some questions can help you move forward.
Visit findyourmbcvoice.com for an interactive guide to help you learn the next steps to take after an MBC diagnosis.
And how to ask the questions that lead to an open and informed conversation with your doctor.
Start finding your voice today
at findyourmbcvoice.com.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally, so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
Rich is just a really, really good guy. The term good egg isn't enough to describe him. He's also certified organic and free range. Rich puts the cap back on everything. The toothpaste, the olive oil, the shampoo, everything. He lets his 10-year-old nephew beat him at virtual tennis, even though he can straight up slay his 10-year-old nephew in virtual tennis. When the toilet paper is running low, Rich replaces the roll on the actual holder, not just on the back of the toilet. Rich is texting and driving. Rich, no. What are you doing, Rich? I was just telling everyone how great you are. Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
720 on the AM, 1015 FM. Yeah, now on FM. The only FM news talk station in Las Vegas. KDON.
He's not going to be removed. He's not going to be removed. He's not going to be removed.
That's right, Donald Trump. He's not going to be removed from office, but if he does, I'm going to get my, AK-47. Anyway,
and then our content goes down by 80%.
Yeah, oh, probably. Anyway, welcome back to the show. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. So glad he could join us. It's been a few weeks since we had this guy on the show. We always love having him on. Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. Mike, how's it going, my man? How you doing?
What's up, Mikey?
What's up, fellas? How are you?
Doing great.
I'm doing okay, my friend.
You guys, it's been a while.
It has been a little while. You're a busy guy, Mike. What you been up to?
Nothing fun. Working, holidays.
I don't. That's crap. I don't.
We had Thanksgiving.
See, now you sound like
showcasing $1 million baseball jerseys.
Now you sound like Donald Trump, and you're lying. First of all, you're Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. You live in LA. You have a great job. You're a good-looking guy. I say that in a very heterosexual way. And you're a celebrity. You're a popular guy. You have a great job. People would kill to have your position. You're telling me you haven't done anything exciting in the last few weeks. I don't believe you.
Semi-hetero at best.
Yeah, I've done some stuff. You see that baseball? We had that Babe Ruth baseball bat in here this week that's going to sell for like, $1 million plus this weekend. But yeah, I've done some fun stuff personally too. Went out a little bit, had some fun, saw some people. But yeah, I've been having a good time. But
All
I'm
right,
glad to be back with
that's better. Thank you for your honesty. All right, so I want to start with this. So Antonio Brown has a rap song that's out. We want to play a little clip for that for you, and then we want to get your reaction to it. I'm sure you've heard it. Here it is. This is AB with a little rap song. Here it goes.
But I want you now. Sipping on that Hennessy. I know you missing me. Baby girl, give me some distance. And forget everything that you mentioned. Decisions that you made for us up.
Actually, it's actually not that bad, actually. It's actually better than I thought it would be. It's better than his grammar. I'll give him that. Babcock, what do you make of that?
It's better than a lot of athlete rappers out there. It's not terrible. Antonio Brown teased this. He teased his music, and he was going to talk about the time where he had this big police chase in college and the time he was shot in the ear. So this is something that he's been teasing for some time here. Doesn't sound bad. Everything that I'm being told from people that know him is that he is dying to play football. I think he has a lot of free time on his hands right now. So I think that's, as a result, then we have a rap track there. But I think it's a result of him dying to get back on that football field.
Maybe he should treat women with a little bit more respect.
No, I just think he needs to fart. He just needs to fart in more doctors' faces.
Yeah, well,
I'll give him the opportunity.
That too, but you have a story up, Mike Babcock, on TMZ Sports that he's now scorching Ben Roethlisberger, calling him a racist NFL loser. That's not going to help his relationships and getting back to the NFL. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, it's like he goes to Twitter the other day and he apologizes and it was very vague, the apology. It was a little strange. He apologized to people that he may have upset and then or anything that he said the wrong way. And then he calls him, a racist and a loser. It's not good. It doesn't help him. This guy has obviously an image problem around the league. And, we can debate on here if Ben Roethlisberger is a good guy or a bad guy. We know he got some stuff in his past also, but he just looks unstable when he goes out and he lashes out against Ben Roethlisberger. And like you said, he calls him racist and some other not nice words. And it's just it makes Antonio seem like he doesn't have a grip on his life right now.
Well, and it's bad timing too. Why wasn't he saying this when he was catching 17 touchdowns a year from him? Why is he saying this now? It's kind of like Colin Kaepernick after kneeling after he's suddenly on the bench. So Clinton Portis, another NFL story. Clinton Portis is facing up to 20 years in prison for defrauding the NFL's healthcare plan, the Gene Upshaw healthcare plan. And actually, the late Charles Rogers was involved in this as well. Talk to me about what happened here and how they even managed to defraud the NFL.
Yeah, this is a serious situation here. You got a bunch of former Redskins, not as famous as Clinton Portis, but James Butler, another guy, Ettrick Pruitt, and these guys apparently according to the government, at least, developed this scheme back in 2017, and have taken a whole large chunk of money. The Justice Department involved, so this isn't just like any ordinary state case. It's the feds are involved, and these guys are facing decades in prison here. They're facing up to 20 years in prison if it's proven that they actually did in fact take this money, and it's a serious situation. I know Clinton a little bit, and I talked to some people who are close to him today, and that they maintain their innocence here, and they say they didn't intend to do anything wrong, but it's not a good situation if in fact it is true that they took this money that was supposed to be allotted for the health of players.
How much money was it that they took?
They say more than $3 million.
Wow.
Which is not a huge amount when you think about how many guys we're talking about. Not just talking about Clinton Portis, you're talking about a group of men here, but still they do say it was more than $3 million that was defrauded.
So, Mike, we have this story of a professional hockey franchise and a professional hockey player, and we see this picture of blackface where apparently a staffer on this team used blackface for Halloween. Talk to me a little bit about this.
Yeah, this was back in 2011, and they had a players only holiday party, and this guy who was the equipment manager dressed up as a black player on the hockey team. I guess he thought that was funny for some reason, and now 8 years later, this whole situation is coming to light, and the player is upset about it. He obviously was upset about it at the time, but it's something that has upset him. What makes matters worse here is that the equipment manager is still employed by the hockey club. So at this very day, he is working for them, and it's I know it's something that they're exploring all avenues, legally and otherwise, because it's something that this guy says he was really hurt by, didn't really know how to handle it, and it's I don't know why we keep seeing this. It seems like it's like every time Halloween rolls around, and I understand this was a couple of years ago, but it seems that people are still making this mistake. Do not dress in blackface. Just don't do it.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know that Trudeau was working for a professional hockey team. That's news to me. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Before he got into politics.
Yeah, with Don Cherry. So a game last night, NCAA hoops player Kofi Cockburg from University of Illinois, he scores a basket against Michigan. It's a very heated game. He basically punches the air, and his hand comes down on the referee's head. And this guy's 7 foot, 290 pounds. He's a big guy. The referee ends up going to the hospital. What happened here? And is this ref going to be okay?
Yeah, it seems like he's going to be okay. I've talked to people at the school and talked to people from the conference, and it does seem like he's going to be okay. It was more of an observation type of deal when he went to the hospital. But when you watch that video, you see he was badly hurt. And I see some people saying, "Oh, it doesn't look like he got hit that hard." But like you said, JD, this guy is huge. He's a massive man, and to get hit, with the pointy part of the elbow on the head, it made for a scary situation. And obviously, Kofi, I don't think there was any intention of harm there. He was pumped up, and he was celebrating, and just the referee happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. But it does seem like he is going to be okay.
So I want to get your thoughts on Garrett Cole signing this massive 9-year deal for $324 million with the New York Yankees. You're a Yankees guy yourself.
I'm excited. Yeah,
you are excited. I mean, I have them to. I think that either they're going to win the most games in Major League history next year with their team, or he's going to get hurt in the first 2 months, and it's going to be a problem. Like, what do you think is going to happen with this?
Oh, I hope not what you said. I hope it's the first option. They won 103 games last year, and Luis Severino didn't pitch until the playoffs, and they obviously didn't have Garrett Cole. You could, easily make an argument that he was the most dominant pitcher
unbelievable
last year. So I think they are going to be formidable. I mean, look, with or without Garrett Cole, they're going to win, somewhere around 100 games next year. I don't think they're bringing him in to win regular season games. I obviously think this is to win the World Series. I don't think it's guaranteed. I see a lot of Yankee fans and just baseball fans in general essentially saying we should call off the season next year, and I don't think that's the case. Look at the Astros. You go back to last year, and you look at that roster, and you say, hey, there's no way that this team doesn't win the World Series. And with the year that Cole had and Verlander, they still didn't win the World Series. So I think nothing is guaranteed. I think you can guarantee yourself winning 100 games, but you can't guarantee yourself a World Series, especially in a short series. Who knows what happens? But I think it's a move that the Yankees had to make. I think that this is obviously a guy that they've been wanting to get since they drafted him, and he has decided to go to college. And then when they could not make the trade with the Pirates, because the Pirates wanted some Yankees prospects that they didn't want to chip in there. So I know this is a guy that they've wanted for a long time. I think it's a move they had to make. I agree with everybody that towards the back end of the contract, it's probably not going to look great. He's clearly not going to be the same dominant pitcher.
No, there's no chance.
Hopefully be next year. But with all that said, I think it's a deal that had to be made. And also, look, maybe 35, 36, 37 million. Now that sounds like a lot, but who knows where baseball contracts go? So maybe 7, 8, 9 years from now, maybe that number is not that outrageous of a number. Maybe at that point there are pitchers who are making $45 million a year. I mean, I think that's well within the realm of possibility. So maybe the contract doesn't look as bad and doesn't saddle them as much towards the end of the deal as the people think it's going to.
All right, Mike. Mike, we always appreciate you taking some time to join us, man. Have a very boring weekend, because I know your life your life is just so boring.
Crazy this weekend, just for you guys. Maybe
Good.
Hey, you know what? Speaking of your weekend, Mikey, have you ever been to Sir?
Yes, yeah.
You have? Is the food good?
Because people like to, you know what it is, City? People like to, because of the TV show,
Right.
people like to go to Sir. So if I have a family come in town, they all want to go. Let's go see the restaurant from the TV show. So yes, I've been to Sir a couple times.
All right. Well, have fun, Mike. Have a very exciting weekend, and we expect you to fill us in next week. Thanks for coming on, Mike.
You guys live in Vegas too, so let's not act like you have.
Hey, listen.
No, he makes it sound like we live in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Listen, I never said I live.
You're in Vegas.
I never said I lived a boring. I never said I lived a boring life, but I'm not Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. That's all I'm saying. All right, that's all I'm saying. All right, Mr. Babcock.
All right, let's all go out and have fun this weekend.
Let's do it. All right, Mike. Thanks for coming on, my man.
Yeah,
I appreciate
Mike.
it.
Thanks, guys.
He is Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. Man, they do such a great job over there. All right, when we come back, we've talked a lot over the last few days about UNLV football's new hire of Marcus Arroyo. What are some former UNLV legends saying about it? What is the athletic director saying about the hire? And what is Marcus Arroyo saying about it? We will discuss that coming up next. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here, the all-new 101.5 FM 720 AM K-Dong.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I shopped the many highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $27 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-423-4557. That's 800-423-4557. 800-423-4557. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at selectquote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Parents, you always say you want what's best for your children. If that's the case, then you should be bringing your kid to Infinity, the Math Institute, where every student earns an A or B in math. Our results are proven and they are amazing. The best tutoring service for the best price, whether online or in person, small group or one-on-one. You cannot get better results. Great grades will come when your child truly understands the math. From elementary math to calculus, we have the best tutors, the best materials, and the best results. Now offering free parent seminars on how to better help your child, what is Common Core, and more. Find out why parents are bragging and students are enjoying school again by calling 702-768-1777. That's 702-768-1777, or visit themathinstitute.com today. Tell them the Vegas Take sent you, because at Infinity, you don't get more math problems, you get solutions.
The jobs of the future will be heavily geared towards science, technology, engineering, and math. In other words, the future is STEM. So if you're a middle school student, talk to your school counselor about STEM. A public service message from America's Navy.
Millions retire online so they can do what they want offline. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
The Las Vegas Health and Fitness Chamber, a nonprofit organization, offers many membership benefits to both business and individuals. Reach us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or on the website, vegashealthfitnesschamber.com.
Distracted driving means
danger,
recklessness,
irresponsible,
chaos, police,
devastation,
injury,
tears,
death.
Safe driving means staying alert and staying alive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
At the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Federal Student Aid, we provide more than $150 billion each year in grants, loans, and work-study funds. Learn more at studentaid.gov.
Whoa! There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Sean Hannity, weekdays noon to 3 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
So since you're already naked, let's get started. Do you have the money?
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. That audio clip from our friend who was a security guard at Disney that showed up naked to a prostitute's house. Well, it ended up turning to be a sting operation. He will not be working at Disney anymore. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
That's so sad, Brian. It really is.
It is sad.
Because if he didn't work for Disney, they wouldn't have made that big a deal out of it.
That is true. It is Sharp and Shapiro. It is the Vegas Take. And if you've been living under a rock, you might not know, but UNLV has a new football coach. And Tony Sanchez, of course, was fired. They hired this guy, Arroyo, from Oregon. We've been talking a lot about it the last few days. But what do some legends think about it? What does the athletic director think about it? Her first public statements. We're going to talk about that. By the way, tomorrow on the show, we are going to cover the press conference in welcoming Arroyo live. That is going to be at 11 a.m. So we are going to do our best to cover that press conference live for you. And we will have a correspondent out there. So that's going to be interesting. I think we have a pretty good idea of what's going to be said here. What does Randall Cunningham think of this hire? Well, Randall Cunningham, he hasn't been extremely close to the program, but he's commenting on it, and it's positive. He's saying he's more excited than ever since Coach Harvey Hyde left in 1985. He also went on to say that he thinks that we hope that now we're going in the right direction. So Cunningham is certainly giving kudos to this hire. What is Arroyo saying about this? He said, quote, the opportunity to train, practice, and compete in some of the country's best facilities in one of the world's most vibrant cities cannot be understated. He also went on to say, we will work tirelessly to elevate UNLV football to the championship caliber program that it is positioned to be. I can't wait to get started, and I look forward to meeting our student athletes, support staff, and fans. Desiree Reed-Francois, athletic director, said, we looked for a leader that is a great evaluator of talent, who can sell what makes UNLV, our community, and our program unique, and helps develop and prepare our student athletes for the next level. She went on to say, when Marcus and I reconnected during the search process, his alignment with these attributes became evident. Now, this is something very similar that Francois said about TJ Otzelberger.
The way that she makes these statements is it's like UNLV is Notre Dame. UNLV is not Notre Dame. It's not a Jesuit school with extremely high academic and accomplishments or qualifications or expectations. This is in Las Vegas, Nevada. This is in the entertainment capital of the world.
I'm approaching this the same way I approached the TJ Otzelberger hire. I think there were better candidates out there. I'm very wary. I'm very skeptical. We named a few of those candidates that I thought would have been better for this job. Let's give this guy a chance. But just like the hire of TJ Otzelberger, where I think you're overpaying somebody that is not proven to win as a head coach at the D1 level in the right situation. Yes, TJ Otzelberger won at South Dakota State. Yes, he had one of the best offensive players in the country in a very weak conference. The Mountain West Conference is very different. The pressure here at UNLV is very different. Yes, this guy Arroyo has won as an assistant coach, as an offensive coordinator. He's never been a head D1 coach before. It is a gamble, and you could make the statement that, well, you hire any coach, it's a gamble. Yes and no. Yeah. I mean, you hire someone that has been a head coach and successful at the D1 level. She's decided not to do that. And we know what Francois likes to do, right? She likes to hire young, up-and-coming coaches and pay them a lot of money, which I don't think UNLV can afford. But with that being said, we got to give this guy a chance. Let's see what he can do. I'm going to give you the exact same opinion that I gave with TJ Otzelberger, in that I don't think he's going to get you to the promised land, meaning I said TJ's not going to make Sweet 16s. He's not going to win tournaments and win games in the NCAA tournament. I'm not sure Arroyo is the guy. My personal prediction on this guy, and again, we learned a lot about him, that he can recruit, which I think is great. We learned a lot about him.
But that's at Oregon, man.
Right. You're not going to do the same here. I don't care what the facilities
are.
You've
got Nike backing you at Oregon. You're the only show in town.
That's a good point.
In Autzen. You've got a great NFL not bloodline, but streamline of players that go to the pros. You don't have that at UNLV. And this guy, he's never made second half adjustments. He's never been behind. He's always had top talent in the Pac-12. If he doesn't have the top talent here in the Mountain West, is he going to be able to win? I mean, it's not as bad of a situation with Tony Sanchez as far as being unprepared, but it's close. It is close. I mean, coming from a major school like Oregon in the Pac-12, where you have 4- and 5-star recruits, up consistently, here you're not going to have those type of recruits.
I'm going to say
you're not going to have that
unproven.
experience. You're totally unproven, especially in those second halves of games, and that's where UNLV lost the last 3 years. It's the second half.
Halftime adjustments.
Tony Sanchez made zero second. He made poor second half adjustments because he didn't have to at Gorman against better competition.
Yeah, when you're up by 8 touchdowns at halftime, you don't have to make many adjustments.
Exactly.
So again, my opinion is the same with TJ Otzelberger. I remember when TJ was hired, and look, TJ's a really nice guy, and we're rooting for him, just like I rooted for Tony Sanchez. But we talked a lot about some other coaches that we thought would have been a better fit at UNLV, Mike Miller being one of them. And Francois decided to go in a different direction. I'm not a big fan of this hire, and if you listen to other networks that refuse to say one negative thing about UNLV, refuse to be honest, and kiss the ass of the UNLV athletic department, guess what? We will never do that here.
It's not that I'm not a big fan of it. I just have my reservations, and I think they are warranted. And the thing with Mike Miller is, you can make the same argument that he wasn't head coach either, but in basketball, you've got 5 players. If you can recruit 3 5-star players, you're going to be good immediately. In football, there's 12. There's 24 on both. There's 11. There's 22 on both sides of the ball. You have to recruit a full team to be good. You can have 4 or 5 5-star players and still not be good. If you have 3 5-star offensive linemen and a 4-star wide receiver and not a good quarterback, you're still going to lose games. In football,
I agree.
You have to build your team around having an entire culture of winning. Whereas in basketball, 2 good players or 3 good players can guarantee you a trip to the Elite Eight.
And that's a very valid point, and I agree with you. Let me also say this: the same people that are doing jumping jacks about this football hire are the same people that were doing jumping jacks when they hired Dave Rice. They are wrong. Their history proves that they are wrong. And I'm not saying I'm always right, okay? But when Lon Kruger...
You kind of are.
Well, where have I ever been wrong about UNLV since I've been here, okay?
You're pretty spot on, including with wagers.
Yes. I said when they got rid of Lon Kruger and they wouldn't pay him the money he wanted, that it was going to set the program back a decade. Guess what? That's exactly what happened. I said when they hired Dave Rice, a guy that had never been a head coach before, I said that was a mistake. When they hired Marvin Menzies, who was 7th up on the seventh up on the list, I said that was a mistake. When they hired Beard for a week, I said it was a slam dunk hire, a home run hire, and I was doing nothing but complimenting UNLV.
And you know what Texas Tech just did 2 days ago? They just beat the #1 team in the country at Louisville in Madison Square Garden.
I saw that, which is weird because they lost 2 games here in Las Vegas.
One to my alma mater, Iowa.
They lost to Creighton in Iowa. They got killed. So that was. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is Beard would have been a fantastic hire here. And I gave them kudos for that. I'm not going to do jumping jacks. Like I said, the same people who do nothing but say positive things about UNLV and fail to criticize them in any way are those that are doing jumping jacks with this hire. I hope it works out. I hope it works out for Francois and UNLV. I'm not going to do jumping jacks over it. This guy has never been a head coach before.
And is he going to put fans in the seat
No
immediately?
way. No way.
Absolutely not.
And then there are people out there that say, well, what hire would have? We named a couple guys yesterday that if you had hired them, Gruden being one of them, he would have got people in the seats. That's the bottom line. He would have got people in the seats. There are hires you could have made. We talk about Rick Pitino. We had Pitino on the show before. If you hired Rick Pitino for this job, and yes, I believe he would have accepted the job, the Thomas and Mack would have been packed.
And also, I think that going with an offensive coordinator, UNLV's problems were never offensively. Their problems have been defensively. Like hiring a guy like a Dave Aranda from LSU, to me, would have been a slam dunk hire. Had he been a coach before? No, but defensive coordinators know how to coach. I mean, games are lost in the second half because of defensive failures. And hiring a defensive coordinator to me would have made more sense than an offensive coordinator.
Well, we're gonna cover the live press conference tomorrow. Arroyo and Francois will be making some remarks. We'll cover that tomorrow. Also, Treasure Island comedian Chad Prather will be joining us, so that'll be a lot of fun. So a lot to get to tomorrow, and of course, we will cover the live press conference, folks. We are going to take a 21-hour break. We'll be back at you tomorrow bright and early, folks. Have a great afternoon. Sean Hannity coming up next.
Your home for Sean Hannity. KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Debate intensifies. Family leave benefit. I'm Mike Moss. The Judiciary Committee debate on the impeachment of the president has been filled with spirited debate. Democrat Hakeem Jeffries.
We're here today because he solicited foreign interference in the 2020 election. He had welcomed foreign interference as it relates to Russia. He solicited foreign interference on the White House lawn with China, and he did it with Ukraine.
Republican Debbie Lesko says Democrats don't have a case against the president.
Not one single one of their Democratic fact witnesses was able to establish bribery, treason, or any high crime or misdemeanor. I mean, they have absolutely nothing.
In the middle of all that, this announcement from the president at the White House today.
This week, my administration reached a historic deal with Congress. The federal government will now give 12 weeks of paid family leave to all federal employees, something that nobody expected.
New York Democrat Nita Lowey says she expects a new spending bill for fiscal 2020 later today. New Jersey Attorney General Gurbir Graywall says the 2 gunmen who killed an officer and 3 others at a Jewish market acted out of hate.
We believe that the suspects held views that reflected hatred of the Jewish people, as well as a hatred of law enforcement.
The FBI is investigating it as a domestic terrorism incident with a hate crime bias. The Pentagon says no new international military students will come to the U.S. for training until new screening procedures are in place, a change that comes after the deadly shooting last week by a Saudi student in Florida. President says the U.S. and China are very close to a preliminary trade deal. Reports today indicate the U.S. has sweetened the pot for China by proposing massive cuts to existing tariffs. On Wall Street, the Dow up 202. I'm Mike.